Hi, and welcome back to Beyond the Monsters. Today I have Lyndsey here with us all the way from Utah. She just flew in. When did you get in?
Yesterday,
Yesterday.
last night.
Oh,
I know,
yesterday.
travel day.
Yes, yes, traveling fun. All right, well, we're going to dive into her story.
Okay, I don't really know where to start. So I guess we'll start with like a little bit of where I am now. I am a survivor of domestic violence. And so that's, what the premise of my story is. Um, I guess we can kind of start when I met him because that's kind of where I
Yeah,
start all the time.
perfect.
I met him when I was 16. I thought I knew everything. I was the teenager that could be told nothing. And I remember the first time I saw him, he walked into chemistry class and there was just a group of people. It was a majority girls and they were just surrounding him. And I remember wondering, like, why are they surrounding him? I was just like so mesmerized by what drew people to him right off the bat. I could
Right.
see that.
Okay.
And as we started talking, my mom was very, very strict. I'm the oldest of four children. I was the test child where you're figuring everything out. I
Right.
was raised in a very religious family. I did competitive dance growing up. So we are very like regimented. Like what she says is what she means.
Right.
And when I very first started talking to him, I was grounded. And he's like, let's go hang out. And I was like, I can't. Like, I'm grounded. And he's like, let me talk to your mom. And I was like, you want to talk to my mom?
And he's how old? Same
So
age?
he's 17
17.
and I'm
Okay.
16. So he was a senior when I was a sophomore,
Okay.
but so yeah. And it was weird
I
because
was like, wow, that's
yeah,
bold at
very
17.
ballsy.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
right? Especially my
Yes.
mom was the one that I was always intimidated by. It was not my dad. My dad is
Right.
this big, scary riding club, rides horses, cowboy. My
Mm.
mom was always the one I was scared of. Like, you
Okay.
don't mess with her. She's just
Yeah.
very
Stringent.
regimented.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was like, okay, like go talk to my mom. Good luck. Like have fun because I don't like to talk to her, but
Right.
you have fun.
Right.
And she agreed. We went out that night. And I still don't like I know at some point my mom and I probably talked about it, but I wasn't there, so it wasn't anything that has really like stuck inside. I don't know what
Right.
he said to convince her to let me go, but we went out that
Wow.
night. And it was just so strange because no one had ever stood up to my mom. You just don't, right? That
Right.
wasn't something that happened.
Right.
And so we started hanging out. Well, as we started hanging out more, he was debate president of our high school. And so he would pride himself on being able to win any argument. And he did.
Mm.
Like any argument he got into, he would win it. And throughout our relationship, he would admit to me multiple times, I knew you were right the whole time. I just had to win. And I remember having the thought, well, I can't be mad at that because that was one of the things that drew me to him in the first place.
Right.
So how can I be mad at something that I admired and something that, you know what I mean? It
Right.
felt very hypocritical. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess at least he knew I was right.
Right. And
I
you were young. Like,
Yeah, I was a
yeah.
baby.
Right.
So, that happened. I remember another thing that he would be so, so proud of is he would bully the bullies. If he would see someone getting picked on, he would pick on the bully. And I was like, oh my gosh, you are the sweetest.
Like in front of
Like,
everyone for a
yes.
show.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my heck, you are so sweet. And that was never something that I saw as a bad thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're standing up for people.
Right.
And he would just like talk about how he would like physically assault these people standing up for a bully. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so sweet.
So you're like,
Like,
oh, he's a
yes,
hero.
yes,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
totally the
Right.
mindset that I
Right.
had. And very early on in our relationship, he shared trauma with me that he had. So his birth dad and his mom had had a really traumatic relationship. And I still don't know that I quite know the exact details of what happened. You hear everyone's version of what
Right.
happened,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
But I know that there was a lot of drama, there was a lot of turmoil in that relationship. And his birth dad ended up giving up rights to him and his sister and his older brother when my ex husband was probably about four.
Oh, okay.
And he was the youngest of the three.
Okay.
So later on, his stepdad, who is still married to his birth mom now, adopted him and he changed his name and he never had anything to do with his birth dad. And he shared that all with me very, very early on and that he was really scared of his birth dad. It was very bits and pieces of stories, right? It was not really a clear picture for me. I just knew that he was scared and that it was something that he didn't share with most people.
And that was probably instilled in him maybe by his mom or
It's kind
something
of
because he was
how it
only 4,
feels,
right?
and that's
Yeah.
something that worry about so much now, like, because I saw how it affected him,
Right.
and I don't know, looking back now, I can definitely see it differently, but I can see, like, the fear that he had at that time was genuine, like, I believed that he was scared of that man, and
Okay.
there was one point in our relationship before we had gotten married, we were still in high school, and I remember he showed up at my house, and he knocked on my front door, and he had just come from a job interview, and he was, like, shaking, physically shaking, and I was like, "What is wrong? Come in." And he's like, "It was my dad." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "The guy interviewing me was my birth dad." And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, how did you not
And he had
know?"
no idea?
Well, he said he sat through the whole entire interview. He said the man had another person in the interview with him the whole time and that it felt really weird. The interview went throughout the whole process. And then he said at the end, um, the person interviewing him said, "Well, what if I want favors run? Like, will you run errands for me?" And he was like, "Well, if I'm getting paid, sure." And he goes, "Okay, well, what if they're more personal favors?" And he said at that point, he looked down at the name tag and the name registered and it clicked. And he said he stood up and walked out and left. And I remember he came to my house later that day and he was just petrified. And he was like, "He's going to find us. He's going to find me." And it's interesting now because I still have a relationship with his birth dad, which we will get to later in the story. It's
Oh,
so
boy.
crazy. But I've never asked him because I just don't feel like it's my place to ask. But it was
Yeah.
so bizarre. Like the whole interaction was weird, but he was
Yeah.
very scared that he had like let him find him and his mom.
Okay.
And so it
Now
was
was he
weird.
protective of mom?
Very,
Okay.
very, very protective of mom. Um, and mom is a very specific individual. She had very specific rules. Like later on when we got married, there was a point where we lived with them. I wasn't allowed to kiss him goodbye, like peck him goodbye in front of other people, or especially her younger son. Like that was a big no-no. It was just like very specific, odd rules. And it was fine. I'm like, okay, your house, I'll follow your rules. But things that were just, I'm still like, I'm making out with him. Like, you
Right,
know?
right.
But I was like, okay,
Just
like
like little peck, bye.
yeah.
Yeah.
So just weird
Yeah.
interaction. So he shares this trauma with me. And so then as our relationship progresses, he starts telling me, I didn't have a lot of girlfriends. I had done competitive dance and I've always been the kind of person that I just say what's on my mind. First and foremost, it just comes out.
Right.
And a lot of girls just can't handle that type of
Especially
person.
in the dance world, as we
No.
know.
And so I just was kind of a loner, and that was fine with me. Like competitive
Yeah.
dance was kind of what I loved. And so I didn't really care that I wasn't involved in high school stuff.
Right.
But then when I met him, there was no wall for him there was no friends that were saying
Right.
like that
Like, right,
barrier.
right.
He didn't have to convince friends that he was bad. It was just my family that I already felt
Yeah.
didn't understand me because I'm a teenager.
Right.
And
Right.
what teenager understands them? None. And
Right.
so then if someone's saying, "Well, I know who you are," you're like, "Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Like, who am I?"
Like, you see me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it was so easy for him to convince me that my family didn't understand me. And my
Making
mom,
himself the hero
absolutely, that he's standing
again.
up for me. He's standing
Yeah.
up for my
Right.
emotions and
Yeah.
helping me stand up
Right.
for myself.
Right.
And I remember my mom, again, this strict woman, I remember people don't come over to our house unless it is clean and everything is situated. And that's fine. Like, I just feel like that's how her mom is. But I just knew, like, that's what happened. Right.
Right.
And so, like, when she would ask me to do chores or whatever, clean the bathroom, clean my bedroom, whatever, if I didn't do it the way she wanted, what do you parent, how you parent, right? She would say, "I'm not going to take you to dance," because I cared about nothing else. She
Right.
couldn't use anything else against me. So she's like, "If you don't do this, I'm not taking you to dance." He grabbed that and ran. He was like, "That's how they're controlling you. You need to quit dance because that's how they're controlling you." And I was like, "You're right." And in the middle of competition season, and I don't know many people that will understand this, but we were like weeks away from our first competition. I just didn't go. I
Shit.
just stayed home. I was like, "No, I'm not going." I just told my mom, "I'm not going." She had my dance teacher come over to my house, come down into my bedroom, and she's like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I was like, "I'm not going." Like I was adamant. I was
Right.
standing my ground. I was standing up for myself. There
And
was
it's like, did
nothing.
you like forget how much you loved it and everything at that moment, or you just wanted to, like, please him?
I think it was kind of a mixture of things.
Yeah,
I think because, I mean, obviously in the dance world, there are friendships that form. There
for
are
sure.
very tight friendships that form. And I was always kind of the outcast, right? I
Okay.
loved to dance. I still have a love for music and dance. It still speaks to who I am. But I think because I didn't have the acceptance and like that core friendship even there,
Right.
it wasn't really hard for me to be like, okay, well, I'm
I'm just
graduating in a
done.
year. Like,
Yeah.
what, I'm not going to do anything with dance after this.
Right.
So I'm going to regain my independence. It wasn't hard to
Especially
convince me of
because
that.
there's this guy, your new, knight in shining armor
Oh,
that sees you,
absolutely.
understands you, like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So I
He
was
started
done.
early.
Oh, absolutely. Very early on, I was required to text him. Like, if he texted me, I was supposed to text him back. And I had dated other guys, but I was 16. Like, how serious
Right.
are relationships?
Right.
What do you know about them? Not a lot.
Right.
And so at that time, texts were like you paid per text
Oh god.
because
Yeah, yeah.
so I got in
Yeah.
a lot of trouble because
Oh,
I would go over every month and my dad would just yell and yell and yell. And I'm like, don't care because
right.
I knew like I'm just trying to please him and make
Right.
him happy. So I didn't care.
Mhm.
And so it was things like that that started very early on and that he expected those things of me to show that I loved him and I cared for him.
Even for him, you were young also, but to be that much of a master manipulator?
Well, and that I didn't see any of that as a
Of
problem.
course not.
The fact that I was like, "Oh my gosh, you are so sweet and you're protecting me." And like I
Yep.
saw none of it. And my family didn't like him. No one liked him. Everyone told me like there's just something off. Like they couldn't exactly pinpoint what, but they didn't like him. And my whole thing was, "Well, you just don't understand him."
Yeah.
Because I understood his trauma and he just
Right.
hasn't shared it with you, so you don't
You
get
don't
him
understand.
and you don't get me and you're just trying to make me unhappy. Like
Right.
that was and you could not convince me otherwise.
Isn't it crazy how we can look back and we're like,
So insane.
"Shit."
Even when I talk about it now, like when I go to high schools now and I talk
Okay.
about healthy relationships and I kind of tell my story, I tell about when I meet him and the things just I don't tell it scary because it wasn't. It
Right.
was my life. It was what I fell
Right.
in love with. That was what drew me to him.
Right.
And so I just tell it like that. And we just let them kind of pull it out. But even now when I say some things out loud, I'm like, oh
Can't
gosh.
believe I did that,
Or
huh?
like I'll
Shit.
see their faces and I'm like,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
so like as our relationship progressed, I remember he would tell me that I had got a chance to date other boys, but he needed to date other girls to make sure we were supposed to be together. And I was like, okay. Like we're supposed to
Oh,
be together. That's totally I believe we're supposed to be together. So you go do that. You have fun. I'll just wait here. And I did. And I knew he was dating other girls and I would kind of like
how old
see
are you
about it.
now?
Like 17-ish. I hadn't I
It's
mean, it was my junior year, probably. He was out of school, I was still
okay.
in high school, so the dynamic was definitely different.
So he wants to date around while you just
Go
sit
to
and
school.
wait.
Yeah. And I was like,
Okay.
"Okay." And I
Mhm.
just let him do it. And I was like, "Okay." And I mean, at that point, I wasn't sneaking out, I wasn't doing drugs, I wasn't a bad kid, but
Right.
I definitely wanted things my own way. Like,
Right.
you weren't gonna convince me that I was gonna do things any other way than what I wanted to do them. I
Most
think a lot of
teenagers.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely how I parent now. I told my
Right.
grandma the other day, I was like, "Anytime I have something that I want my kids to do, I try to convince the teenage version of myself that it's a good idea." And that's how I parent because honestly,
Right.
like even look at your own teenage self. You are
Mhm.
never going to convince that, even if you come with every receipt in the book,
Doesn't
you
matter.
will
Right.
never convince them
Right.
otherwise. And so
Right.
that is always how I parent because I
Okay.
mean, I just think of myself as that teenager
Right.
and I didn't listen to anyone. So it
Totally
was just
normal.
right. It's
Yeah.
just crazy. So, um, as he came back, he was dating all these other girls and he came back to me. And I remember this is
Would
one
he,
of
like,
those.
tell you about
Oh, yeah. Like, I would see pictures. So we both worked at a
what?
kiosk in the mall, and I worked at an upstairs one by the food court. He worked at the downstairs one, so it was the same company.
Yeah.
And he would like pick up random girls that would work at mall stores, and he would come up and have lunch with them at the food court in front of me. And I would just like,
Girl.
and at this point, we were like living together in an apartment. Like, and we were going, like, I had graduated high school. We weren't married, but we
Right.
were living together and we would drive to work together. But he's just like having, and I'm like, I say this now and I'm like, okay, why did
Why
I
did I?
agree to
Because
this?
you had blinders on,
I
and they're
did.
really good at that, like, they're good at
Absolutely.
making you feel that way.
Absolutely.
How was your self-esteem during this time?
I think it started to struggle. I've never been someone who's not confident. Like as a dancer and a performer, I think you learn how to
Right.
get on the stage even through that anxiety and push through. And
Right.
I think I thrived on that in some way,
Okay.
right?
Right.
I am I don't like to be out in public and out in places, and I think that that's always been kind of part of me. Now it's definitely more extreme since my abuse, but
Right.
even before then I was definitely one that just didn't want to be like in it unless I'm in it for a reason, right?
Right. Right.
So it
Okay.
was really easy for me to just be like, okay,
Sure.
whatever, and just kind of stay out of it. But it was just insane for me to like even look back and be like, yeah. So I
So you guys are
remember,
living together.
yeah,
You're working in the same vicinity of each other.
uh-huh,
He's
dating other
dating right in
women.
front of
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Like what what did you feel like when you guys went home at night or anything like that? Would you be like, "Why were you having lunch right in front of me?" Or
I
did you
didn't
just
even
leave it
ask.
alone?
I didn't even
Ah,
ask.
okay.
I
Oh,
just
so he had it
Oh,
made.
well, and I think that's why I hold so much guilt against myself for all of it because I look back now and I'm like, why didn't I just say something? Like, I can see
'Cause you
really
weren't at that point in your life. You
no,
weren't in that position to do that.
no,
That's why.
I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't. I know that sounds dumb, but I didn't know I could. Like,
Well, you're being manipulated
yeah,
already.
yeah. So
So
I
young.
remember when all of this like came to an end, and he decided he was going to ask me to marry him. I remember he came to me one day and he was like, I'm not physically attracted to you, but I know you're going to take care of me the best. And I was like, "You are so right. I am gonna take care of you the best." And
Oh my
I was like,
god.
so now that's one of those things that I say it and I'm like,
Wait, did that even happen?
I'm
Yeah.
okay. Like, I
Yes.
don't feel like I'm ugly. I
Right.
don't like, and so but I felt grateful to him. I felt like I owed him something because he was looking past something to love me, if that
Right.
makes
You
sense. Like,
know, it
I
does. It
remember
does.
having
Like
that
he
mindset.
thinks I'm gonna take care of him. That's probably what you held on
I
to.
did. And I prided myself in that. I mean, and that's the thing.
Oh,
Not everyone in the state of Utah, but like me, that's all I grew up wanting to be was a good wife and
right,
mom.
right,
I think that's a lot of what happens around where I'm from. And
right.
I think that that can be taken and manipulated so
A
easy.
lot most people a lot of people in that area are, Mormons, right?
Yes,
Okay.
stay at home
Right.
wife, mom. And I
Yeah.
was raised Mormon. I am
Okay.
not active anymore. I still believe in God, but I don't believe that I have to go and be a part of that. I
Right.
believe that the church created a lot of trauma for me
Okay.
specifically, but I know that that's not everyone's experience.
Right.
So I try to just keep that where it
Leave
is.
it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
My family is still very, very active.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm the only one in my family who is not.
Who's not?
Hmm. My immediate
You're
family,
just
I
the
guess.
rebellious one, you
I
know?
always have been. I've always been the black sheep. My mom will tell
Yeah.
you. I had an event at a high school the other day, and it's a high school she works at, and I
Mhm.
sat on the little rolly cart, and I had my daughter push me down, and she's like, "Once a troublemaker, always a troublemaker," and I was like, "At least I'm consistent."
Yes, yes.
So, but again,
And
like,
self-aware.
it's so
Yeah.
crazy to me now though because like I know that that's the mindset she has, but I look back and I'm like, I didn't do drugs. I didn't
Right.
sneak out. I
Right.
didn't like I know I asked questions and I pushed back and I had to say something about everything. My dad still to this day tells me if you would just learn to shut your mouth, you wouldn't get in trouble.
Girl,
You're probably
I'm
right, but I
49. I'm
can't.
still struggling
I
with that.
can't. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
It's not who I am. It
Right.
never has been.
So how old are you now? Now he's like telling you, okay,
We're going to get married.
we're gonna get married because you could take care of me.
Yeah. So he proposed to me January 14th, 2006, and we were married February 24th, 2006. So it was like
Okay.
6 weeks. We planned the wedding in 6 weeks.
Wow.
But at this point, I'm like, okay, we've been together for like three and a half years.
Right.
Like, I have waited to marry this man. He's dated other women. Like, I'm ready. Let's
And
do
he
it.
chose me.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
felt like I won.
Right.
So we got married. I was 19. I was a baby. And we got married. And a year into the marriage, I got pregnant. We had just bought a house.
Okay.
Baby was not in the plan. We bought the house thinking that I was going to work full time. He was going to work full time. Like that was the plan.
Okay.
The pregnancy was hard. I got put on very strict bed rest. I had to crawl to the bathroom because I was passing out and they couldn't figure out why. And so they were like, well, if you pass out, we want you like close to the floor.
Right.
So I had to stop working. And we were just far enough away from family that it was hard. I think it was like the beginning of what made it easy for him to put tension on the relationship with my family. Obviously, there's already tension there because they don't like him and he
Right.
knows they don't like him. But I was always, and I look back now and I wonder if I should have done this differently, but I never shared any of the struggles that I had with him with my family because I didn't want to give them
Make it
anything else to use
worse.
against him.
Right.
So if I'm arguing with him, like nothing was shared with anyone in my family, period, the end. The person I did go to was his mom.
Really?
Because in my mind I was like, well, his mom's always going to love him, right? And
Right.
so I can talk her through the things that he's doing to me, and even if they're horrible, she's still going to love him. And so it's a safe place for him, right? I felt like
Mm.
he wouldn't feel attacked if I was going to his person. Does
Right.
that make sense?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's kind of where I stayed the whole entire time. She was my sounding board when I had issues with him.
How did that go?
For the most part, her and I were really close.
Okay.
Um,
She understood, or did she believe you? Do you
Well, at
think?
that point, there was nothing I had that I was complaining about. Like I was happy. Like I was having babies and I was staying home.
Right.
Like once I quit my job, I was just working at like a recreation center in the city
Right.
that we lived, and so it wasn't anything major. I didn't
Yeah.
go to college. So I graduated high school, but that was it.
Okay.
I had dropped out of hair school. I had gone to hair school
Mhm.
and I was a month and a half from graduation. And he had decided that he was going to go to Las Vegas with one of the girls that I was going to hair school with. And I found out about it while they were in Vegas.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it was awful. And when they came home, I was like, I can't be here. I can't be here around her. I can't
Like,
like
did you knew her too?
Oh
And
yeah,
like,
she got in my phone and took his number out of my phone and text him, and that's how they hooked up. According to him, again, I never asked her, so who knows how much of this part is actually true.
oh
But
my
he claims that
goodness.
she lived in Las Vegas. They were going down on vacation and he wanted to go with his friend.
Mm,
And so they were just going to go hang out.
right.
And when they got back, I was like, I can't look at her. I can't be here. I just felt like I was like, okay, I just can't. Like, I didn't trust anyone.
Right.
And I think he was kind of making me feel that way. But at that point, I definitely couldn't see that. Like, it was just, I don't trust anyone. I need to remove myself from this environment that feels toxic. Right.
Right.
And that someone would go into my phone to get his number. And again, who knows if that's real. But either way, that felt weird. Like a girl
Yeah.
that I'm going to hair school with, this is my boyfriend. Like, we were close enough that she knew who he was.
Right.
And so that felt awful. And I just couldn't stay in the environment anymore. And so I dropped out. I was like, I'm done. So,
So he won again. He got
mhm,
dance out of the way. Now it's hair
yeah.
school.
So I was done.
Wow.
And so I just kind of like did the recreation job, whatever. I worked at a college parking center. It was just very casual jobs
How
here
are
and
you
there.
feeling at this point though? Are you like getting depressed? Are you sad about dropping out? Or are you just like, all right, move forward. I'm happy. We're
No.
together.
Yeah.
And
I felt
okay.
like I was kind of getting rid of people that were against me, I
Right.
guess is kind of the view that I had
Right.
in my mind. I definitely would not have told
Everyone
anyone
but
that I was
him.
unhappy. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And he never told me, like, you can't hang out with your family, you can't do this. But I remember every time we would go over, he's like, they don't involve me, they don't include me, blah. And we would argue, 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 argue. And so I
Mhm.
would call them and I'm like, okay, guys, can you just include him? Like, can you invite him to do this? And I'd come up with like, can you take him to do this? And they're like, okay, we try to include him. And he doesn't talk to us. And he's never like, what do you want us to do? We're here, we're trying.
Right.
And I'm not telling them, we're getting in major arguments at home. Like, could you just like involve him?
Right.
So it was very frustrating for
Yeah.
me. And
Yeah.
I think this is where I look back now and I am very triggered by the term marriage is hard. I hate that term. I don't think marriage is hard. I think life is hard.
Right.
I don't think your person should feel hard. And I think the term marriage is hard kept me in an unhealthy relationship for such a long time because as things progressed, I'm like, well, all marriage is hard.
Marriage is hard.
Right?
We have to
That
just
was what I
work
kept
through
going
it.
through in my
Yep.
head. And I'm like, okay, but no. And now being married to the man that I am, I would never say marriage is hard. Life has been hard. We have definitely had
Right.
struggles and trials
For
and we
sure.
we have things we don't agree with. But every time it is just a normal conversation like you and I are
You
having
know what? I
now.
hear that all the time. And now hearing you say that, I could see that. I could see why
I
you
hate
would
that
hate
term.
that.
I
Yeah.
hate that term so much because in my head that was always what I said. That was
Right.
always what I justified.
Right.
And I don't want anyone else to think that term and have that keep them
Right.
somewhere.
Wow.
So I hate it. I'm very triggered by that
I could
term.
see why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if that's what was in your head.
Yeah.
And Wow.
Well, I mean, think about the mindset. If you're arguing and someone's like yelling at and you are unhappy, but you're like,
Mhm.
okay, well, I don't know everyone else's life. I don't know what they're doing at home. Just like
Right.
they don't know what I'm doing at home. Like
Right.
if every marriage is hard, why would I go and start over with someone else to do this with somebody else?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So I just kept going, kept having babies.
So he dropped out of beauty school. He did all that shit
Hmm.
with going to Vegas. Did he ever own it? Like
He was
anything that
never ashamed by
happened?
it. He always owned it. He never hid it. It was never anything that I like. I still to this day could not tell you how I got to the point where I was like, okay, do that. And I don't
Right.
know that he ever asked. Like it wasn't like I
Right.
was giving permission by any means, but I don't know.
You didn't like throw a fit about it
No,
or
absolutely
anything.
not. I never questioned it. I never said anything. And I don't know if I was just so confident in the fact that we were supposed to be together or what. Like I do try to think back now.
Probably a little bit of everything. I mean, you were so manipulated for years
Yes.
now.
Well, and in
Ugh,
those years that you're finding yourself, he's in the back of my head the whole entire
right.
time. And again, I'm not unhappy fully. Like I'm still having babies. I'm home with
How
my
is he with the
babies.
kids? Like, is
I
he
mean, he's
an attentive dad? Is he like being a
ish.
good husband?
Looking back, now seeing how my husband is now, I would have told you before that he was good with the kids. I would have told you like he's present.
Okay.
Now looking back and seeing my husband now works 2 full-time jobs so that I can be home with our kids, and
Oh,
he still is more present than my ex-husband ever was.
okay.
So, I think that it depends on the viewpoint. I think in that moment I would have told you that he wasn't
Right.
bad at that time. He was fine, but he wasn't helpful. His
Okay.
job was to go to work. My job, this part's fun too. I hate this. Yeah. I it was my job to set an alarm and wake him up for work. And then he would get in the shower and I had to lay his clothes on the bed for him and make his lunch. And then I would get the kids up and get them off to school and like keep the house functional and he'd come home to dinner and all the things. And I would do all the things like the house cleaning and the laundry and all of that. Like that was all me. And I prided myself in that. I was
Mhm.
so proud of the wife and the mom that I was. I was like,
Right.
I am kicking butt.
Right.
Like, look at
Did he
me
ever
go.
tell you that though? Or
No.
it was just expected?
And I don't know that it was expected, but it wasn't ever thanked either. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that that was something because I still do that stuff.
Right.
I don't lay out my husband's clothes or make his lunch, but like I like making meals for my family and I
Sure.
like being home and being a mom. I like those things. And so that's why I think I say like those things can be taken and manipulated so easily because I don't think being a stay-at-home mom is a bad thing. I think that's a beautiful thing.
For
But
sure.
I think when someone that doesn't appreciate the hard work that goes into being a stay-at-home mom takes advantage of that, I think that that's where it can turn so
Right. I
toxic.
agree.
And
I
it
agree.
definitely did. And I didn't see that in it. One, because I'm finding myself as I'm growing up and maturing and educating myself and learning more things, but also I'm just with him. Like
Right. So these years, is he ever aggressive
to
towards
other
you?
people, not to
Just to the
me.
other, not to you.
Yes, while we were dating, and I do talk about this when I go and talk in high schools, there was one time where his mom and stepdad came over to my parents' house and they were telling them that they didn't know how to parent me. Yeah, ballsy move. Again, this whole family, very ballsy. And
Yeah.
my grandmother, who I love, like she is an angel that walks the planet. She
Oh,
showed up at, I don't remember if she was supposed to come up or she just came when the interaction was happening, and he got in her face and started screaming at her. And I thanked him for it
ooh,
because he was standing up for my emotions.
standing up for you.
And I thanked him for it after. And I still feel sick about that because I call that woman every day. Like,
Right.
I talk to her more than I talk to my mother, probably. Like,
Yeah.
just because I just always have had a very close connection. And it still disgusts me that I thanked him for screaming in her face.
Right. Right.
And that I never saw that as an issue. He was always aggressive to other people, but it was never targeted to me.
Wow.
And so he went through a lot of jobs throughout our marriage, but he was always sales driven. He was always a very good salesman.
Because he's a good bullshitter.
Hmm. Absolutely, he was. And so he worked for corporate T-Mobile, and like, I always called him the fixer because he was really good at what he did. Like, you could go, it was mesmerizing to sit and watch him sell something to someone because you wouldn't even know he was doing it.
Right.
Like, and I knew he was doing it. And so
Right.
to sit there and watch it, I'm like, but how? Like, I was just drawn to what he was as a human. I thought it was amazing. And I
Right.
do think that that is amazing as a skill. not many people can do that, and
Right.
he could. And so he would go around and just move to different store to store to store to store. And
Is he moving around because he's not getting along with someone
no,
there or
I do
just
genuinely think that he was doing really well at this job. Like he
okay.
was really good at training people and like getting them to sell and motivating them to sell. And I don't know how he did it. I never worked for him, but I
Right.
know he produced sales.
Okay.
I know that there are a lot of women that worked for him that have like reached out to me and they're like, he was always very flirty. And I'm like, that does not surprise me.
And
Like,
you're like, good to know.
shocker.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
whatever. Because throughout our marriage, at some point, he told me that he wanted me to be a sister wife. And I was like, no, not my vibe. Thanks. No. Like, it was just mind blowing to me. And at this point, we have 2 kids.
Right.
And so, like, I don't know. No one in my family had gotten divorced. So in my
Right.
head, that's not even an
And you
option. I
still
hadn't
can't talk
got
to your
it.
family about
No,
it.
no. I don't, who's going to say that?
And you're only talking to his mom.
And I didn't even tell his mom about this part. Like, who's going to say that? That is humiliating. Like, that is
Like, I'm not
humiliating.
surprised because of the other shit that
Yes.
we've already talked about.
But still,
But God,
yeah,
this
it just made
guy.
me feel inadequate. And like,
Right.
I'm clearly not enough for
Not
you. Like,
enough.
why are we, like, why? And so I just was so confused. Like, I was humiliated. I was frustrated. I did say no to that.
Right.
Which I'm like, okay, look back. I'm happy I said no to
How did
that.
he respond to your no? Because you
He
never really
wasn't
said
no, but
no.
he wasn't, like, aggressive, but I could tell he wasn't happy. But this is where
Okay.
it's funny now, because then, like, a couple years later in the relationship, he came to me and I remember he came and he was like, this has nothing to do with you. This has everything to do with me. But I just don't think that you're ever going to make me fully happy. I think that I need to date other women and I still want to stay married to you. I just think this is a me thing. And if you truly love me, then I need you to let me do this. And I was like,
Wow. Did you let him?
mm-hmm.
Stop.
No, I did. I did. It got so bad. And he was proud of these dates. Like he was so proud. So, fun fact,
So he's like telling you.
oh, this story, you're going to love this one. This is awful. This where I talk,
Yeah.
don't apologize.
God.
I should apologize to my previous self.
Yes, you go ahead and do that.
So I had to get my tonsils removed for a second time as an adult. Fun fact, if they don't get them all the first time, they grow back. I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
And so as an adult, I had to get my tonsils removed for a second time, which, I mean, you always hear that's awful. It was so
Right.
bad. So he took me, same day surgery. We get the tonsils removed. He takes me home. He left and went on a date that day. And so I'm home with our kids right after surgery.
Right out of surgery.
And he comes home and he starts telling me about this date and how he made out with her on the car and how he's so proud of himself. And I'm like, congratulations. Like, I didn't even know how to react. I was so emotional and like I couldn't even wrap my head around what was happening because it felt so, I'm like, okay, not only did I agree to let you do this, but like you didn't even stay and take care of me.
Right. You didn't do your part that you should do.
Right? Like it was just like, and I remember being like, I knew I wasn't happy, but it didn't feel like I had any option.
God, I hate that you didn't have like girlfriends or even guy friends, whatever, just
Well, and I kind of
to
did.
tell you that you would tell them the stuff. They'd be
Right.
like, listen, this is not freaking normal.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. I feel like when it comes to stuff like this, who's going to go and be like, my husband wants a sister wife. My husband wants to date other women. That's humiliating.
See
That's
me,
awful.
I'd tell all my friends.
Well, and this is the thing.
And I'd be like, and they'd be like, and I'd be like, am I crazy for saying fuck no?
Well, and I feel like too, I was always so protective of him because of the dynamic of the relationship, right?
True.
I didn't ever want anyone to have anything against him because if they did, that was another battle I was fighting.
Right.
So I remember it was pretty early on in our marriage. I had to ask to buy everything, which in my mind wasn't weird because he was the one working, right? I was the one like paying the bills. I could see the bank account, but I had to ask to buy things. And I never really thought that was weird until I was at Costco one day and I was with one of my friends. And I remember picking up the phone and I started calling him. And she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I'm calling him to ask if I can buy socks. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, he said he needed socks. And so I'm going to ask him if I can buy socks. She's like, buy the damn socks.
By
And I was like,
him
him
socks?
socks.
Oh god.
And I remember,
Okay.
like, I called him. I called him and I asked. I let the call go through. And I remember leaving that interaction and I remember thinking, like, okay, well, clearly that's weird. I never thought it was weird before that.
Right.
But I remember thinking, like, okay, well, it's weird. But I didn't change anything about it. There wasn't anything to motivate me to change it, right? It was
Right.
functioning. I was getting what I needed. It didn't.
Well, and he had already been grooming you for how
Yeah.
long to, like, be a certain way? His
So
way.
So I just did.
Good lord.
Yeah. So that just progressed and stayed that way, right?
Okay.
Um, so he had multiple jobs. We moved throughout. He had this one girlfriend. We love her. She followed us our
Wait,
whole
like
marriage.
girlfriend?
Girlfriend.
Girlfriend, not like a
I
friend
have
that's a
such
girl.
complicated emotions towards her. I knew her. I was friends with her in junior high. She was dating him when I met him. He broke up with her to date me. They are now married. So it wasn't
God.
shocking to me when they got married by any means. Like
Yeah.
this girl followed, she got him like he got her jobs. Everywhere we went, like we moved probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours north from where we were living, and she moved up north and got a
So
job.
you're the wife, he has her as a girlfriend
But she
also.
was married, I'm pretty sure, at the time. Like, she had her own relationship. It was the weirdest thing. And I remember he told me there was a bishop in his life. They lived in the neighborhood together. And their childhood bishop, I guess, had called him in and was like, promise me you'll always look after her. She needs someone to look after her. And so he always told me, like, I can't not talk to her. The bishop told me I need to look out for her. And I was like, okay,
I wonder if that's even true.
I don't
But
know.
still,
Yeah.
okay. So
Like,
now we're girlfriend and wife, and are there other girlfriends too?
oh
Is he
yeah,
still dating?
multiple girlfriends. They would come over for dinner. I would make dinner for them and their kids. They would have sleepovers at our house. Mhm. And my kids would never know like what they were, and like he would never like do anything with them at our house. He just wanted me to be friends with them.
Because he just wanted to control everything
It was
with
weird.
everyone.
It was like looking back now, I just am like, it makes me feel humiliated. Like it makes
I'm
me feel ashamed
sure,
and guilty and humiliated. And I'm like, I
but
can
you
see why
can't.
people don't talk about this part of stuff,
Right,
right? Like it's
right,
so raw and
right.
real. And
Well, it's probably hard for you to even look back who you are today and to look back at like, how the frick did I ever put up with that?
yeah,
But then
absolutely.
you look at all the other people that are damaged too. How did those women want to come to to his wife's home,
I
their home?
still wonder
Makes
that.
no
Like, because
sense.
they knew he was married. Like, I still look and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like that's why I do have a complicated relationship with women in general, just because
Probably.
I
Yeah.
don't, I'm like, how do you know that? And
Right.
go and, like, even if you think you're going to go and be friends with her, or you, like, I mean, clearly I knew, right? But, like,
Right.
how do you go and be that person?
Yeah.
I'd never understood that.
Right.
So I just, and nothing against them, like whatever. I don't know what he told them. I have no
Right.
idea what he told. I know how easily I was manipulated. Clearly, look at all the crap that I let him
Right.
do.
Right.
So I don't hold them accountable
Right.
for that at all. But I think at the time I would have told you I did. I was mad at them.
Right.
But I'm like, he's the one choosing this. Like now I can look back and say that. But I think at the time I wouldn't have.
God.
Yeah. So at this point, I still don't think I would have told you I was unhappy or I was in an abusive marriage. I wouldn't have told you that at all.
And he's still not physical.
No, not at all.
Verbal?
I mean, he
Would he
would
talk down
yell
to
and he
you
would get
and
aggressive. Yeah. So I
okay.
remember he started telling me things like, maybe you shouldn't talk when we're out in public. I know you don't want to sound stupid. And I'm like, you're right. Like, thank you for telling me I don't want to sound stupid. And I just would stop talking out and about. Like, I wouldn't
This
interject,
man. Oh my
but it
god.
felt like he was protecting me.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, how
He's
sweet. Thank
looking
you for
out for
looking out for
you.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember as like we would go to like doctor's appointments or things for our kids, he would always come like after. He's like, "You were flirting with that doctor. That doctor was flirting with you." And I'm like, "No, like I was just asking questions about our daughter." Like,
So he just wanted you to not speak, not go anywhere, not do
yeah,
anything,
yeah,
not have friends.
yeah. He would have me go to the gym with him to make friends with girls. If he thought they were cute, he would be like, "Okay, go make friends with her," so that we would be friends with them and he could start talking to them. And it just felt awful. I felt like I was a tool. Like at that point, I would probably say I started to feel really crappy, but I still
Okay.
wasn't like I don't know. I don't know that I would have identified that I was unhappy. I think
Right.
because I was still happy some of the time,
Right.
you know?
So you held on to that.
Mhm.
So where are we age-wise now? How do you guys
So we got married in 2006. I guess, like, for reference, we got married in 2006. He was finally arrested in 2021. So we were together like almost 18 years total, like from dating, because started dating in 2003, I think.
Wow.
So we were together a very long time. So I mean, at this point, this is very slow burn. Like, we are like
Yeah.
very slow burn into it. And um so the first time that he ever got physical inside our home, well, actually that's not true. The first time he got physical inside our home was with our son. So our son and our daughter, so I had 3 children with him, and I have a daughter, a son, and a daughter.
Okay.
So my son and older daughter were playing, and he ended up hitting her. I don't know, like as kids do, right?
Right.
Well, she came and told him. She's like, "Cutler hit me, Cutler hit me." Well, he decides that he's going to go parent this moment, and it's my job to come and stand by it. And at this point, like, punishments towards the kids were definitely getting more aggressive, and I was having a hard time supporting them, but I wasn't allowed to, like, question them in front of
Voice
the kids,
it.
especially. Like,
Right.
we were a united front to the kids, period, the end. Even if I didn't agree in the moment, like, I bring it up behind closed doors. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that
Right.
that's pretty normal, but this was definitely hard. So he went into him and he punched him in the chest, and it threw him across our family room into our sectional couch to show him that we don't hit girls. Like, that was how he parented that moment. And I just stood there. Like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to react. I remember my son came and like knocked on the door later, and I could tell he was angry. And so I was trying to be so quiet because I was like, I just didn't know. I was shocked. Like, I was like, I
Right.
don't know what in the heck is happening. And he's like, my chest hurts a lot, Mom. Like, he's like, I feel like it's like caved in. And I'm like, just go downstairs, like lay down for a minute. Like, he
Oh.
was little, like, I would say probably like 8-ish, 7 or 8
Oh
at this point. Like,
God.
he's pretty tiny.
Yeah.
And so, like, that was like, things were getting more aggressive, and I was required to be with him at all times. Like, if he was, so he lost his job in early 2019 at
Okay.
T-Mobile. He had been there for 10 years and they fired him. And I think that kind of sent him downhill. Um he never did drugs. He never was into alcohol, which I think sometimes makes it a little bit harder too, because it's not like I can be like, oh, he was aggressive because he was
It would
drunk,
make more
or, you
sense.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there was
Yeah.
nothing that I could excuse it on. It was just
Right.
him. And so, as he lost his job, he definitely got more depressed, and I could tell things were shifting, and the kids were like very much on their own. My older daughter was required to like be there for them so I could be there for him. So, like, things just evolved and escalated. And I remember the basement of our house got a disaster. Like, it had probably been 3 weeks ish since I had even been downstairs. And we have 3 tiny kids. Like, they are destroying the basement. You
Right.
can barely see the floor. Well, he decided they're cleaning it. We're not helping him, they're cleaning it. And we're not going to speak to them. They are not going to eat or sleep until it is done. Well, I think my oldest daughter was maybe 10 at the time, like, not equipped to handle that situation.
Right.
And I had to sit there and watch. And I think we went a day and a half before we talked to the kids. And
Were
I,
they just looking at you to save
they
them?
were just
Or
crying. And
yeah.
I asked them now, like, I go back and I've talked to them about it. And I said,
Yeah.
I'm like, did you guys know that, like, I didn't support that and I just had to, like, be there? And they were like, no. And it breaks my soul.
They probably thought you were just part of it.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna cry.
No, it's
They
okay.
are my
That's
humans, and it just
yeah.
breaks me to know that, like, I just had to stand there and let that happen, and I thought that I was doing what was best for my kids. Like,
Right.
how is that what's best for my kids? But that's what I believed in that
At that
moment.
moment, yeah.
I did. And so, things are progressing and they're getting more aggressive. And I
There's tissues right
remember,
there.
oh, thank you. Um, I remember there was one night that we got into an argument, and he punched a hole in the wall of our hallway. And I know the kids were awake. I know that my sister told me later, like years later, that my daughter had texted her and was like, my dad's yelling upstairs. And, like, I know she was scared. But they came upstairs the next morning, and I remember, ooh, sorry. I remember he looked at them and he said, I hit the wall so I wouldn't hit Mom. And I looked at them and I
He
apologized to
said that
them.
to them.
I said, I am so sorry. I made dad so mad. Like, I will try harder. I am so sorry. And I apologized. And it just like it I didn't again, like I think I was in shock. How do you process that?
Right.
I didn't. I don't think I
Of
processed
course
that.
not.
So, that I now know. At the time, I think the timeline was very blurry, but now looking back, that's one of the only videos that I still have. Every time I would like go, we would go through things, he would wipe my phone of like pictures and things. And so most things are gone, but I do have a video of my daughter like jumping around and dancing, and you can see the hole in the back of the wall. And I show or the hole in the wall behind her. And I show that when I go and speak at high schools. And the date on there was September 11th, 2019. And the first time he got physical with me was Halloween 2019. So it was like a month and a half
Wasn't
later.
long.
No, but in the moment, it felt like it was a lot longer. Like living it, I don't think I would have, it didn't
Yeah.
feel that at all.
Right.
So that was weird. That was weird.
What happened the first time?
Um, that one was complicated. um, Sorry. This one I don't know that I've ever like fully talked about publicly.
Just say whatever
So
you're comfortable with.
yeah, no, it's not that I'm not comfortable, but I think so often when I do interviews, because I don't ever want to come across as petty or like I'm holding on to that victimhood mentality. I try to always have it be a purpose. And this one
Yeah, I
doesn't
would
feel
never
very
have that
purposeful,
impression.
you
Yeah, no,
know?
I would
And so
never
I
have that
try not to
impression.
talk about it unless I have a purpose, but I think this is the purpose, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So, so I remember at that time I was working at Revere Health and I was outside the home because he had lost his job. And so I had to go back to work. We had a house, we had 3 kids. Like I knew something had to happen, but
Right.
I hadn't had a job in 10 years. I had a high school diploma. Like I
Right.
wasn't going to bring in the money that we needed, but I was trying to figure something out. And I remember I didn't trust his emotional state at that time. And I could tell things were weird. And I just thought he was depressed because he lost his job and that's
Mm-hmm.
hard. Like that's an emotional
Sure.
gut punch as a
Right.
man and the provider of the family. So I'm trying so hard to be
And being
patient and like,
fired for him and his ego and shit.
oh
Oh,
yeah, like,
yeah.
and so I'm trying to just be patient and give him time, but like I can only hold on for so long. Like there's no way I'm going to go into the workforce and even come close to making the amount of
Right.
money we need to make. So it's putting a lot of stress because I'm not home to take care of him the way that he thinks that I need to take care of him because I'm at work, and then when I'm home, the kids need things from me and I'm just being pulled in so many
Yeah.
different directions. And so I remember I had gone to work that day and I came home and no one was at the house. And it felt very uncomfortable. I was very uneasy with the whole thing and I kept trying to call him and he wouldn't answer his phone. And I I don't remember how long it took him to get home, but he finally came home and he was really frustrated that I was nervous. Like he could tell that I was like anxious that he was gone or like that
Mm-hmm.
something was off and he was mad. And I was like, it's fine. Like I didn't know where you were at. Like it's Halloween. Like are we going to go take the kids trick or treating? What's the plan? I don't even remember how the argument escalated. Um sorry. He he got to the point where he had lots and lots of guns. Um Hunting was a big thing and so it was just normal. And he had a handgun in our closet and he grabbed it and he was standing probably a little bit closer than you and I right now, and he held it to the side of his head and he was like, if you really feel like I'm a bad husband and a father, I'll pull the trigger right now. And I just remember like freezing. I didn't dare have any emotional reaction. I was scared that an influx in my tone, like I didn't know how to react. I was terrified and I just
Right.
stared at him and I was like, no, I don't think that. And he put it down and I just fell to the floor and I started bawling. And I remember he picked me up by the back of my hair and started screaming at me and telling me that I was selfish because he was the one hurting. And I started apologizing to him for crying. I remember he threw me on the bed, and there was a lot of things that happened, and he started recording me as we were going around the house. It was the weirdest thing ever. In my head, I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, it was just
Because you're probably
weird.
obviously very emotional at this point too. Is he just trying to make it look like you're the
I
problem?
think so.
Like,
Like, looking back, I feel like that's probably what the intention was.
yeah,
And so, like, we're going around the house, and I'm trying to keep him focused on me because our kids are in the house, right? But he had done that stuff all in our bedroom. So they hadn't seen any of that. So I'm trying to keep him very focused on me. And we get into our room. And I remember I was sitting on the edge of our bed, and he said something to me, and I just stared at him. I didn't even say anything. And he walked around the side of the bed and, like, closed fist hit me in the side of the head, and I fell down onto the bed. And he got on top of me and started strangling me, and he started screaming, "Why won't you let me love you?" And that moment, like, will never leave my brain because it was the weirdest. Like, I I don't even I don't understand. Like, even now saying it to you, like,
yeah.
make it make sense. Like,
You can't because
it
he
was
wasn't sane at
no,
that point
it
at
was
all.
crazy. And so, like, I remember, I don't even know how long he was strangling me for. He got off. I don't think I lost consciousness, but he was strangling me for sure, and got off, and I went and locked myself in the bathroom. And at this point, I'm texting my mom because I'm in shock. Like, I don't know what to do. And I
Right.
think at this point, my family had known things weren't okay. It's not, they're not going to know, no, but you think you
Right.
know, right?
But he's getting crazy at this
Yeah.
point.
And so he had told me, and
Physically. He's
yes,
been
yes.
emotionally. Yeah. Okay.
And so he
God.
had told me in no uncertain terms, like, I will go down by police assisted suicide before I will ever surrender to anyone. And so when I locked myself in the bathroom, he grabbed our youngest daughter and went in his gun room, which I know had at least 10 guns in there. Like, there was rifles, handguns, you name it, it was in there. And I could hear him telling her she was never going to see me again. And so my mom is
Oh
saying,
my
I'm going to call the
God.
police. And I am begging her harder than I have ever begged someone in my entire life, please don't. And she's thinking, I have to call the police. And I'm begging her not to, because
Right.
in my mind, I'm losing my children if that
Right.
happens.
Right.
And so we waited. We just sat there. Like, I didn't know what to do. I'm not getting in. Like, what am I going to do?
Right.
So I laid in a bathtub. I didn't know what to do. I locked myself in the bathroom and I laid in a bathtub. Like, I just was numb. I was in shock. I had no clue how to respond.
Right.
I had no clue how to get out of the house. I'm not leaving my
I mean, yeah,
kids.
because you don't know what his response will be.
No,
You
no
know,
clue. And I'm not
suicide
leaving
by
my kids.
cop or
Yeah,
what. You just don't know.
no. And at this point, he's got my youngest daughter.
Right.
So I just felt stuck. I felt hopeless. I felt stuck. I felt like I had no choice.
So was he still saying stuff to where you could hear anything?
No, I just felt like I got to the point where I couldn't sit out in the hall and listen to it. And I went
Yeah.
and locked myself in the bathroom, and I just laid in the bathtub.
Okay.
I don't know how long I was there. I don't know how long I laid there. I remember my oldest daughter came and knocked on the door. Ugh, sorry. I hate and love talking about my kids because I think that they're amazing, but I hate what they've been through to become as amazing as they are.
Right.
I remember she came and knocked on the door, and she was like, I've got a bag packed for me and the kids, and I'm ready to leave when you are. And I was like, please don't let him see it. Like, I
He's
just
still in
remember
the
being,
house at this point.
yeah, I just remember being terrified, and like,
Sure.
and I just remember saying, like, if you feel like there's a time where you and Cutler can get out and he's not going to see you, like, go run to the neighbor's backyard. And she wasn't going to leave without me, and I wasn't going to leave without her. And
Right.
so we just sat there and waited, and it was probably 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night. It was dark outside, and I remember he sent her to ask me what I wanted from Walmart. And I was like, I'm good. Like, it was the weirdest. Like, well, I don't, and I still feel like it was probably a test. Total guess on my part, but he left the house. Like, he got in his car and he left. And I left with the kids. I did. As soon as he left the house, my oldest daughter came and she's like, he's gone. And I got out of the bathtub. I threw like sweat. I don't even think I matched. I just threw clothes on. I grabbed dirty clothes and we ran out of the back door into the neighbor's backyard across the street. And I called my mom and I asked her to come and get me. And
Thank God he wasn't doing a test where he was like right there parked down
I
the
think he
street
was
or
waiting for me to
something.
take the other car. 'cause the other car was still there. I had access to it.
Okay.
And that's why I didn't take it, because I think he was sitting there waiting for me to leave. I think he expected me to leave, but I don't think he expected me to leave on foot.
Right, and you went out the back door.
Mhm. And it was
Okay.
dark, and so we just got into the neighbor's backyard, closed the fence, and my neighbor did turn the light on. She saw us, and I was just crying, and I waved at her, and I was like, "We're okay." And I've gone back and talked to her since, and she's an amazing human. But
Oh.
so my mom and dad picked us up, and we went there that night. And he did get home and saw that we weren't there, and I let him know where we were. And I just said, "I'm not going to talk to you tonight. I need some space. I need some time." And he sent a lot of text messages that night, and I didn't respond to most of
Was he
them.
boo-hooing at this point?
Some of it. Some of
Okay.
it was like, "I'm not going to talk to you like this. Like, we could both get into," like, very much like trying to be careful of his wording of what he was
Did he
saying.
say
And like,
sorry?
if he did, it was
Usually they don't
not,
say
I
sorry.
didn't ever get, like, when they talk about the whole, like, "I'm so sorry," and like lovey-dovey, I don't
Right,
remember much of that. I'm sure it was there, but it got to the point where the abuse was so intense that that's the stuff that sticks out. I
right,
don't remember any of I'm sure it
right.
was there, but I don't remember it. So, I mean, he's just saying, "Come out and talk to me, come out and talk to me." And I'm saying, "I'm not coming out to talk to you. Like, I just need some time." And he's like, "Come out and talk to me or I'm calling the police." And I was like, I thought he was joking, because I was
Right,
like, Okay, call the
right,
police, like, do
right.
it." And the next thing I knew, police officers were standing in my mom's family room. And I was like, okay, well, I guess we're telling him what happened. Like,
Yeah,
what do I do, you know?
right.
Well, his story was that he was coming to get the kids to take them to school, and I wasn't letting him take the kids to school. That's why he called the police.
Mm,
And I say, "No, this is what happened." Well, we were in the city next to where we were living. So they had
okay.
to call the city that we were living in to report it or whatever.
Because that's where it
Yeah.
happened and yeah.
So the police officers go over to him. He's at our home at this point. I'm still at my mom and dad's house. And they say, "This is what she's saying. Like, what do you have to say about it?" He goes, "No, no, no, that's not true. I have a video. Let me show you." So he sends them the video that he had taken that night. And in that video, it shows him pushing me back into a room and like throwing a drink on me and not letting me leave. And that video was what got him arrested. But I
Really?
didn't
Because at
understand that at
that
the
point, it's just
time.
your word against
Yeah.
his,
And
right?
I didn't understand like the workings of how the justice system worked.
Yeah.
I didn't understand any of that. I'm still in shock. I'm still
He thought he was
numb.
being a smartass too by sending him the video.
I still laugh at that. No, that's not what happened. So I just like
Wow.
look back and I'm like, oh, okay. So
So he's arrested. He gets arrested,
I think if he was arrested that time, he was only in custody for a couple hours. His mom bailed him out almost instantly.
of course.
That
Yeah.
happened the second time too. So the second time he was arrested, he was only in custody for like 3 days. It was a weekend. And that was the only reason why he was in custody for a couple days, because it was a weekend and they couldn't bail him out until Monday.
So he got a second DV, domestic violence.
This is where it also gets fun. So the kids and I went back 6 weeks later. I remember thinking, like, I remember having the very definitive thought, it's not me telling him what he's doing wrong anymore. The police told him what is wrong. Like, he's got to know what he
Right,
did was
right.
wrong so
Maybe he
we can
knows
rebuild our
better now,
family. Like,
right?
it's got to get better. Like, he's
Mm,
got to know.
yeah.
And I went back. And it took me a while. Like, it took me a couple weeks, but I remember I look back now and I think that I can identify why I wasn't successful. I think there were two major factors what made me not successful that time. First, the victim's advocate that I had for that city was brand new and starting that day. I'm the type of person, I like to know what's going on. I like to know my place in things. I like to understand it.
Right,
And the justice system is not clear. You will not
right. It's
understand
not.
it. And I kept asking, because I was being told by his mom and everyone that I was doing this to him. And I was like, okay, but I'm not. Like, I never said arrest him. I never said I want to push
Right,
charges. I wasn't the one that said that. No one even asked me. So
right.
how am I the one doing this to him? And I was so frustrated by that phrase. And so I kept asking her, like, what's my part in this? And she kept telling me, you're important. I'm like, well, okay, well, no duh. Thank
Right,
you.
right,
I am
right. Yeah,
important. But no, like, I need to understand, like, if I wasn't here, would all of this happen anyways? Do you know what I mean? Because I
right,
knew I
right.
wasn't, and
Well, he
she,
sent the video, like
and so she would never give me a clear answer. She kept telling me to Google things. Well, I don't trust Google. I don't trust my own brain at this point. I feel
We tell all our
numb.
patients and everyone, whatever you do, don't
Don't Google.
Google.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it was just so it was hard because I didn't feel like I understood what was
Yeah,
happening.
she
I
just
didn't,
wasn't educated on
and I
all of
get
it.
it. You're moving. I heard she moved across the country. It was a big, I get it. I would love to educate victims advocates because
Right.
that was huge for me.
For
That was
sure.
so detrimental to my progress in staying gone from him.
Well, the unknown is scary as
So
hell
hard.
too.
So
Right.
hard.
Right.
And then I moved back in with my parents, which I think even in a healthy situation is
So
hard.
wait, he gets his first DV,
Me and the
you're
kids, when
gone,
my mom and dad picked us up, we just went
pick
and stayed there.
okay,
6 weeks we were there. We didn't go back for clothes. We didn't go back for
for 6
anything. For
weeks.
6 weeks, we stayed with my mom and dad. At this point, I had not decided I was divorcing him. I remember, like, thinking back now, I never once thought I'm divorcing him. I always in my head was like, okay, I'm just gonna give it some time. I'm gonna wait until I can think things clearly. Like, and I remember
He'll learn from
justifying
this, where you think, he'll learn
the
from
whole time.
this.
Like, I never once even let it cross my mind that I was leaving him. I look back now and I'm like, why didn't I even let that be an option?
You weren't there yet.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You will, and people ask me now, like, what can I say to people that are going through it? You will not say one word to them that will convince them to leave before they are
Not when
ready.
they're in it.
Not at all.
Nope.
So this 6 weeks we're staying with my parents. We don't go back for clothes. We don't go back for anything. People are donating things to us. My mom and dad are trying to get things for us. And I
Are you
am
guys
just kind
talking or
of,
seeing each other during these 6 weeks?
at the first, no. At
Okay.
the end, his friend started reaching out to me for him, and I think it was him. And I remember going over, and I remember he listed our house for sale while I was gone. And I was like, this feels crappy. Like, I have no say in this. This is where my kids live. All of our stuff is still in that house. Like,
Right.
and so I remember it was his friend that was selling the house that had worked with him at T-Mobile. And I had met this friend. So I reached out to him and I'm like, can you call me? Because I'm not talking to him at this point. And I just like, so
Right.
I get him on the phone and I'm like, hey, like, this feels really crappy. Like, do I have any say in this? Like, I haven't even talked to him. What is he even listing the house for? Like, I
Right.
have no
Now, are
idea
you
the
on
details.
the note, the
This
title,
is where I
or
found out I wasn't listed at all. So he's like, we don't have to include you, and I won't
he
be.
didn't? Did you? You probably just didn't
I
even
didn't
think about
care. I
it.
didn't even
Yeah.
think about it. It didn't even cross my mind. And so he's listing the house for sale. I can see. I go over and I'm parked like a block and a half away and I'm in a car that he doesn't know. And I remember just watching the house. And throughout our whole marriage, he had had chronic back issues that he had gotten. He had herniated discs and all of these things. So he had always milked that. I was required to rub his legs and he was on muscle relaxers and the whole shebang, right? But I'm sitting here and I'm probably like 2 blocks away in this dark car. It's night, and he's only moving things out of the house at night, which I thought was weird. But he's going in and out of the house and he's walking just fine. Like
Mm-hmm.
nothing. Like carrying things in and out, up and
Where
down the
is he taking? Where
stairs,
is he taking it?
just putting it into a truck from what I can see. Because at this point, I'm not talking to him, so I have no
Yeah.
idea. So I remember later, I don't know if I did this multiple times, but I remember it was on the same night that I had sat and watched him, and it was probably an hour later I agreed to see him. And this was probably like weeks before I went back to him, or a week, probably very close to when I went
Mm-hmm.
back to him. And I remember as he was walking down the road, I told him, I'm like, I'm down the road. And he was walking, and he started limping. It was like so dramatic. And it pissed me
Oh
off.
God.
I wouldn't even let him in the car. I didn't even roll down the window, and he didn't know, but I was like, no, you are full of shit.
Right.
Like, I was so mad at him. I was like,
Right.
and he didn't know why I was mad. He's like, just let me in the car. And I was like, no. Like, I was furious.
Oh yeah.
And so I remember, like,
But you didn't call him out.
nope. I don't know if I didn't want him to know that I was watching because I still wanted the ability to do it, or like, I don't
Right.
know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, it just felt like I felt crazy. And I felt like I was trying to figure out what I actually believed and what I didn't believe. And
Right. Well, there had been so much.
yeah. And so, I mean, a little bit later, I went back. It was like right before Christmas. I ended up agreeing, like, okay, I want to make our
It's
family
the
work.
holidays, and let's
I want to make our
yeah.
family, and it was hard. Going back and moving in with your family is not an easy
Right.
situation. It's not easy when it's in healthy environment,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
So, I mean, I compare it now when you're a parent and you're parenting a teen. It's uncomfortable to watch them go and like explore and figure things out. You try to control them and rein them in and control the
Right.
situation. Well, they were trying to do that to me, but I had just come from being controlled. I
Right.
didn't want to be controlled
Right.
again. And so I was rebelling against that. I was like, absolutely not. I would rather go be with him. If you're going to control me, I would rather go be there where I'm
Right.
still able to kind of be my own adult.
Right.
Like I'm 35. I have 3 kids. I don't need you to do this.
Right.
And I don't blame them for that. I think that's a normal parent
As parents, we
response.
just want to, and you want to save them, and
Yeah.
just
I don't know
all
that
the
I would do
things.
anything different if it was my
Yeah.
kid. I don't know that it's possible as a parent.
Right. Right.
So I went back to him. And the second I went back, it was bad. There was not a good
No
minute. The second I
honeymoon
was
period.
in,
Nothing.
so he had a defense attorney at this point, and the defense attorney had his friend call me and tell me what I needed to email the city prosecutor to get them to drop the case. And I did. I sent an email to the city prosecutor saying I will not support this case. I want my family to work, and they dropped all charges. And now looking back, I found out later at second arrest when we were at jury trial that
So this is still first. It's
this is
dropped
still
now.
first. This is still first. I found out later that I dropped it the day of his sentencing,
Oh my gosh.
which now I know is huge. Had I just left that in place, the second charge would have been way more
Right.
impactful to him.
For
I
sure.
didn't know that at the time. So I dropped it the day of sentencing. Kids and I moved back in.
See, and it's too bad your victim's advocate wasn't telling you all
Right?
those things.
Well, that's the thing.
She
I
didn't
just
know, yeah,
no. And
but
it was so
that
hard.
was not good.
No.
'Cause that's their job.
Well, and again, I don't know if I would have, I don't know. I don't know if I would have done it differently had I had all the information. I don't know.
Right.
You can always look back and wonder, but
Right. Thank God. So you go
yeah.
back.
So I go back.
He gets his charges dropped. Was he like feeling full of himself
Oh,
after
yeah.
that?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. So at this point, he is like monitoring everything that's happening. So I had written a letter to the judge, and I didn't really understand what I was writing. I know at that point they told me it was a victim impact statement, but I didn't understand exactly what that was at the time. My
Right.
victim's advocate wasn't explaining that well.
Right.
It was this 28-page letter of me dumping my emotions of like what happened because I'm just confused and I don't know. I'm like, okay, am I telling them what happened that night? Like, what am I,
Right.
So it's this big old thing of like, what happened? And this is what I submit to the court. Well, he sees it. Well, when I come back, he tells me that I need to write a 28-page letter telling everyone how I lied and how he's a good husband and a good father and how I made it up because I wanted attention. And I could never write that
I've
letter.
noticed so many times, like when you've been sharing your story, that you say, I was required to.
Mhm.
Like that was like his demands.
Yeah. Well, and at this point, he was physical. So, like, I knew what was, like, I knew if I didn't do it. And there were a lot of times, and I say this all the time, the words were so much harder than the punches.
Yeah.
I would trigger him to hit me sometimes because I knew if he just hits me, it's done and that
Right.
part's over
Right.
and we move on.
Right.
The words that he said to me and how I felt, that stuff still is in me.
Right.
That won't go away.
Right.
So
I agree. I know.
he tells me that he's like monitoring my phone. He's monitoring my emails.
And you wrote the letter?
No, I never could.
Oh,
I
thank
never,
God.
ever, ever
Okay.
could. I tried because he kicked my butt multiple times for not writing that. He's like, you can't, he was just so mad. He was so mad that I couldn't write. You can write this letter. You can write 28 pages why I'm awful, but you can't write anything about how I'm good. And I'm like, okay, well, be good. Like,
Right.
I
Give
don't
me
know what
something to write.
Yeah, I don't know what
Yeah.
you want me to say. I just couldn't do it.
Right.
Even though I knew I was going to get my butt kicked, my body would not let me. I couldn't do it.
So he's just physically abusive all the time now.
Yeah. So I think it was like less than a month after we went back because so on December 29th of 2020, probably. This was right after I went back. So yes, October 31st. I don't know, whatever year he got physical. We went back right before Christmas. And then on December 29th, 2019, I think, I don't even remember now. I'm losing track of my days.
No, it's okay.
He got mad and we were out in his car. And I remember I tried to get out of the car and he grabbed my shirt or something. There was something that was pulling me back in the car and I was trying to get out, but he drove off and I fell out of the car and my foot went under his back wheel and he ran over my foot and a neighbor saw and called the police. And I just
Oh,
limped in
good.
the house. I didn't say anything. I just went, we were right outside the house. So I just went in And he came back and he agreed to take me to the hospital, but we went to a hospital that was like 45 minutes north because the police had just interacted with him. And
Right.
so he, like, if we went to a hospital there, he's scared that they're going to say something or whatever. Like,
So
so
did they
he's
come? Did the
taking,
police come when the neighbor called?
this is where it gets fun too. So at this point, we're gone. We're at the hospital, and a policeman shows up at our house and knocks on the door, and the kids answer, and they call his phone. And he hands me the phone and he says, make them go away. And
At the hospital. Now you're at the hospital.
we were on our way to the
On the way.
hospital.
Okay.
And I was so rude. I was such an asshole. Like, I look back and I was mean, but I knew if I didn't make them go away, I was in more trouble. I didn't
Right.
know this person,
Right.
but I knew what was going to happen if I didn't. And so I told them that they were scaring my children and how dare they? And like, it was awful. And
You
I
were in
know,
survival mode
yeah,
though at this point.
I know now that they went to like the hospitals that were local, like close, and checked, but I was up north and they
He's
didn't
like so
ever
calculated though,
the
like
whole time.
to make sure it's
The
farther
whole
away.
time. So, I mean, it started very early, right after I went back. Like, I'm
What'd the hospital
controlled.
say when you said,
I
what
don't
happened to
even
your foot?
remember the story that I
Yeah,
told them. I
something,
don't even
right?
remember.
Yeah,
Like, I know that I came up with random stupid
right.
things.
Of course.
So at this point, the kids and I have moved back in, but he had hired a cleaning company to come in and throw away everything in the basement that was the kids to, because it was too hard for him to look at. So all of their toys, all of their clothes, all of their baby books, all of their memories, everything is in a dump somewhere that I will never ever get back because he had to get the house ready to sell and he couldn't do it. And so all of our stuff was gone. My baby books that my mom had given me, like my blessing dress, all the things, like just gone. Everything's gone in a dump, thrown away.
He doesn't give a shit.
No. But I'm like, even for your kids, like you would
Right.
think some of their things were held on to. He didn't get rid of all of it, but most of it. So we're back and we all just kind of feel uprooted. No one feels settled. No one feels good. The house is sold. So we're getting ready to move. And we're moving to Spanish Fork, which is where my family is from. So we're in the same city as my family at this point, but we have no communication with them. Um,
Really?
and I think
So he isolated you
Oh,
from them.
absolutely. Like when I went back, like he was so frustrated that they supported me and he was just dead set that I convinced them that he was horrible. And I'm like, okay, well, I just told them what happened. I wasn't convincing anyone of anything,
Right.
but that's how it came across. So
All
I
your
wasn't
fault
allowed to
again.
talk to them. Yeah, I wasn't. And no one in his family was coming over. Like, and he had a friend that lived with us. I thought that was interesting. Throughout our whole marriage, he always had someone that lived with us. And it was always one of his guy friends. And in my head, I was like, okay, well, they're helping us with rent. So it's taking pressure off. I don't know. But they always just had their own room and it was his friend. And he would play computer games with them or it was just weird. It was weird.
Yeah.
So we had this friend that was living with us in Payson that moved with us to Spanish Fork into this new house. And at this point, he has me switch to an at-home position. And it's COVID year. And so all the kids are pulled out of school. He pulls
Right.
everyone out of school. We're all at home. We're not leaving the house ever. And throughout this year, he was physical with me more times than I can count. Like it just was what it was at this point. I kind of felt just hopeless, right? I
Yeah.
remember when I was working at Revere Health, my boss called me in and he was like, I know something is happening. He was one of the only people to call me out in that way. And I still love him. But he would tell me, he's like, start another bank account, like divert some money. And I'm
Right.
like, he looks at my pay stubs. I can't. Like, and when I went back after I left the first time, he took my name off the bank account. So I'm still the only one employed, but my name isn't on the bank account. I have no debit card. I have no cash. I have no credit card. I have
Full
no way to get
control
anything.
now.
I know that I need to stay working because again, we have kids. I have things that I know he's paying things because we're
And
not.
does he still not have a job?
No, still no
He's
job.
still not working.
Just me. So, and again, that's why having his friend there, I'm like, okay, great. Like at least we're able to keep our house. Like our
Right.
kids need somewhere to
Right.
be. So
Where's the friend when a lot of this is happening? They just like supposedly mind their own business in their room or
I did call him out in the body cam interview with the police. I was frustrated. I'm like, I know you saw it. Whether you say you saw it or not, I know you saw it.
right.
Like, because how do you not hear that? I know my kids heard it. So how
Right.
do you not hear it?
Right.
You know? So it was just weird. Like there were multiple times he threw me down the stairs, or I slept outside in the winter under a horse trailer that was the neighbor's because he locked me
Stop.
outside. And like he would get mad and like put all of my clothes in garbage bags and then go put them in the neighbor's garbage cans. And the kids and I would just have to go find them. And
Oh
he
my
would.
gosh.
It was just all the time. Like And so it was
So
just,
they're really seeing stuff
yeah.
now.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, what am, and the kids would just help me take stuff back upstairs, back upstairs. And so, I mean, things are bad. I'm unhappy. I know things are bad at this point, right? But I feel so stuck. Like, how in the heck, what am I
And
going
it's
to do?
COVID
Like,
right
yeah,
now. Yeah.
like I'm talking to no one. I have a job, but I have no way to access any of the money. I have no idea how much money is in the bank account. I like there was just I'm and he never leaves the house. We're always together. So
Right.
when and I don't it did not help that I left and went back, because then when I went back, he told the kids that the kids betrayed him and that they abandoned him. And that if they thought life was bad before, that he was going to make them clean because they had to earn his forgiveness because they abandoned him and betrayed him. And so they were terrified. And so I remember there was times when I would look at my daughter and I'm like, we have to go. Like, we have to get out. And she's like, I can't leave him again, Mom. I can't. And I couldn't leave without them. So we just stayed.
Wow.
So this is 2020, this
So
whole
he's really in
year.
their head now too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, in October of 2020, I remember our house had 3 stories and the basement was unfinished. And that's where, like, I had my work computer, and we had like a sectional that was down there because we had like a projector set up or whatever, but it was all like concrete floor. And I remember we were down there and, um, this one's a rough one too. Sorry. I looked at him and I was like, I know I don't make you happy. Like, just let me leave. The kids can stay. Just let me leave. And he said no words, just stared at me. Like, no words were spoken, just stared. And I didn't know what to do. It felt weird. And I'm like, okay,
You probably didn't know what was coming next.
no. And so I just started walking towards the stairs, like so slowly. I just started walking. And he walked around the side of the couch and he grabbed me by my throat and picked me up and then just slammed me backwards onto the concrete. And sorry. Um, I remember everything was just ringing. Like, I could hear everything ringing and I could see him screaming in my face, but I couldn't hear what he was saying. And I remember I reached back and I pulled my hand out and it was just covered in blood. And there was like a carpet remnant that we had set up and I had landed like just on the edge of that. And I remember he wouldn't take me to the hospital. So he made me go upstairs and lay on an ice pack in our bedroom for like an hour and a half before he realized, like, okay, she's
This
not.
is bad.
Yeah. So he took me to the hospital because it was COVID. They wouldn't let anyone in with me. And so he told them that I was down in our basement trying to hang a curtain and I fell off a dresser. And I got 4 staples in the back of my head. I know that they
Did they
did.
ask you, is this true?
No. And I still look back now, like, I talk about that. That one's hard because it was one of the only times he wasn't with me. Like,
Yeah, and you're like,
I just
somebody just
remember
freaking
laying in
save
a
me.
room by myself and I was so incoherent. Like, I know that they did a CT scan. I know they clearly took care of me, but like I just remember laying in the room by myself. That's all I remember. And then when I was done, they called him to come and pick me up. And the kids told me that when I was waiting, like in that in between time, he went
Yeah.
home and cut the carpet where I had landed and there was blood and then started scrubbing the concrete.
No.
And I was just like, okay. So he came and picked me up and brought me home. And like,
I just can't believe they didn't. Were you crying or anything while you were in
I
there? Or
was
you were
like,
just like in
so,
shock?
I mean, at this point, like, I had been laying on ice for an hour and a half at home, knowing like I'm actively bleeding from my head.
Right.
Like, I don't know that I don't,
You probably just were in shock.
yeah.
But gosh, just the fact that somebody didn't ask.
Say something, just ask the question. My husband now was a first responder. He was a firefighter, and we talk about it all the time because I'm like, if you could just separate them, like, because he would say all the time, like, when we
Right.
would pick people up, you would always have the inclination that that was what was going on, but you
Right.
can't accuse someone, obviously.
Right.
But he
Right.
said more often than not, that person's always requesting to come with the person that's injured, and we let them. Like, they
Right.
can have a person. And an abused person is always going to say yes. I would
Right.
never have said, no, don't come with me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ever.
Right.
So,
Because you know the repercussions of that.
absolutely. So
So he comes
he
to get
brings me
you.
back home. And at this point, I mean, obviously there's stuff that we have to do to take care of the staples, and they're in the back of my head, and I cannot see them. Well, he can't look at them. It's too hard for him to look at.
Huh.
And so he makes our daughter do it. And I know she knew. Like, she didn't know. We didn't, like,
Too
tell
hard for
her.
him.
I have so much guilt for that. Like, that's so messed up. That I made my adolescent daughter clean staples on the back of my head that her dad gave me. Like, I know she knew.
Well, you can look back on that now and think that, but like all of us who have been in those situations, when you're in it, you're just in it. And you know, when people are like, why didn't you just leave?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just this?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just that? Unless you've lived it and been there and felt that feeling or that numbness
Yes.
that you can't speak, you can't leave, or you really think in your head, that's my only person. Like,
Yeah.
people don't understand.
No. And it's so hard to explain. It's so hard to explain
Yes.
how you get to that point.
Right.
But again, I think if it was easily explained, we wouldn't be talking today because
Exactly.
you would be able to
Exactly.
identify it.
Right. Right.
So this was October. I think it was like the end of October 2020. And at this point, I knew if I didn't find a way out, I was probably going to die. I had come to that realization. I
Okay.
remember like coming to that resolution inside. I was like, okay, I know I need to leave. I just don't know how to leave. And I didn't know if I could because every interaction with him was getting more and more aggressive.
Right.
And at this point, he wasn't allowing me to sleep. So I felt like a psycho. So I was working like a 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. shift or something on my at-home job. And he would come down and sit next to me to make sure I'm not talking to people and like telling them things. So he would just sit next to me my whole entire shift or sleep on the bed behind me that he had set up to make sure I wasn't asking for help or doing anything. And then we would go
So
upstairs.
you were like a hostage at this point.
I make jokes all the time
Yeah,
where I'm
like-
like, oh no, I'm not held prisoner anymore. We did that once. I'm
Right,
not a fan.
right.
And people
But
think
it's
I'm
the truth,
joking.
but it's
And I'm
the
like,
truth.
kind of real
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
So yeah, no, like
Wow.
the whole year, the kids and I were in the house. We didn't leave. If we went to Walmart or anything, we went with him. But I mean, that's when delivery and everything started. There was no
Yep.
reason for us to leave. So we didn't. And so
And you're not seeing your family?
no,
or-
at this point I hadn't even spoken to them in over a year. Like it had
Oh,
been a minute. Like
God.
when I went back to him, no communication. It was completely cut off. And no one in his family is coming over. Funny enough, he had like an on and off relationship with his birth dad throughout our relationship. When I got pregnant with our son, he had a relationship with him, but it caused a lot of issues with his birth mom. And she disowned him because he wanted a relationship with his birth dad. And so he didn't like that so much. So he went back to her. So it's always been kind of a strange dynamic. But that last
Right.
year, he was one of the only people that he let in the house. And I still don't know why. It was only like twice, but he let him in the house. And I found out later that he was privately messaging my parents, letting them know that I was okay. Because I wasn't talking to anyone. Like no one had seen me. No one
Was he
even
making
knew.
it look like you're the one that didn't want to talk to people? Of course.
Yeah. So, and again, I don't really have friends. I don't have like, it
Right.
was my family, but I've always really had just like a hard relationship. I've never been really close to any of them because I
Right.
met him so young that
Yeah.
at that time when I would have built that relationship with my family, it was just non-existent.
And friendships.
Yeah.
All of it, right?
Yeah. So I'm just stuck. Like I just feel stuck. And his friend is in the house, but again, like
Oh, friend's still there
his
too.
friend is still living there. Friend is still there for all of this.
This
Has
guy,
a room.
who is this guy that he
Oh.
doesn't think like, all
He
right, let me help
testified
them?
in our jury trial against me. We'll get to that point too. It's so fun. Yeah.
Okay.
So, things are obviously happening. We're still like, there's only a few like events that I talk about because there's just physical stuff happening all the time, right? But at this point, he's not letting me sleep. I'm working, and then after the kids are doing homeschool stuff, but then I was required to rub his legs or like whatever it was. I was just required to stay awake with him at all times because I abandoned him and caused him PTSD last year. And so it was my job to heal him.
Poor
And
guy.
so I couldn't sleep. And so I got to the point where like if he would fall asleep, I would lay there. I wouldn't move. If I had to pee, I wouldn't stand up to pee. I wouldn't roll over if I was uncomfortable. I was terrified because if he wakes up, that means I'm required to do whatever the hell he wants me to do.
Oh, gosh.
And so me and sleep do not get along. We don't have a healthy relationship at all. But I mean, it was what it was. I was not allowed to, like if the kids knocked on the door, I had to have my older daughter take care of them. I was not allowed to leave him to take care of them.
So you weren't allowed a moment by yourself.
Ever. I really love baths. I'm a bath girl, not to get clean, but to relax. I love them. And if like there were a couple of times where he would like go with his friend or whatever, and I would try and get in a bath, and he would come home, and if I got in the bath, he would like punch me in the bathtub because I was being selfish. hmm So it just got to where I was terrified. I was terrified
For
to do
sure.
anything.
Right. And you probably felt so alone.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, I had my kids, but
But that's different,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
You're not even able to handle your own emotions and feelings and all that. Then you have kids to worry about too. And
yeah. And at this point, like, I feel like they know what's going on, but like they haven't seen anything. This is all still
yeah.
behind closed doors, which is how it stays most of the time,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so we hit Christmas. And December 27th rolls around, and I don't remember what started the argument. I still don't. But this was the day we went to jury trial for.
Okay.
Um, it was like an all-day blowout.
First,
Um,
did you guys have normal Christmas? Any other family?
Health
Just
Equity had donated Christmas to my kids. Like,
okay.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think my manager kind of knew what was going on. I think
Mm-hmm.
when you're in an unhealthy relationship like that, it's really hard for it not to affect other parts of your
Right.
life.
Right.
And I
People can
think,
see it if they're trying to be a part of
yeah.
your life or
Well,
to
especially if they've been
recognize.
through any
Yeah,
sort of abuse or trauma, I think it's really easily spotted.
for sure. For
So I
sure.
think she kind of knew, and she was really being like gracious and trying really hard to be supportive, and they were great. So December 27th, um I don't know what started the argument. We were arguing about stupid things at this point. Like it was just all the time. I remember he was in the bathroom and I said something, and I remember I saw the look on his face change. And I knew,
It was
like
coming.
I knew. And he got up and he hit me in the side of the head, and I lost consciousness and I fell to the floor. And I woke up and he was sitting on top of me, grinding his knuckle into my collarbone. And at that point, he stood up. And I remember I crawled into the closet. So he had like a big walk in closet that was attached to our bathroom. And so I was trying to just like crawl away from him. And he came up and he picked me up by the back of my hair again. And I had like a desk set up in the back where I would sit and like do my makeup and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he shoved my face into the mirror and he was like, "Look at that bitch face. How would I love that?" And I remember in that moment, like I wondered if like this was the time I die. Like
Right.
I could feel that it was more aggressive, and I could see that the look on
His
his face was
rage.
different. And
Yeah.
like I could just feel that the interaction itself was just so much more elevated than what it had been in the past. And he threw me backwards, and I remember I just huddled into a ball. I grabbed my head and I just like huddled into a ball, and he came over the top of me and just started wailing on my rib cage, like right here. So I'm just in a ball, I don't know, like 15 to 20 times. I think the police asked me to like tell me. I don't know. Like
Right.
I just remember I was like holding my head
Trying to
and just
protect yourself.
I had
Yeah.
no idea. Like I was in that moment. I'm like, okay, like this is it.
And you're not even fighting back or anything, and he just keeps
He was very into
throwing blows.
bodybuilding. He was very into like self-image and all of that. I wouldn't have stood a chance. Like
Right.
even if there like it just there was no way that even if I wanted
But
to.
even that rage that he was displaying to keep like if you were fighting back, you could
Yeah.
see him even getting more angry and
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit her
Oh
harder or
no.
whatever, but just to
Keep
keep
going.
going and keep
Yeah.
going, and you're just like crouched down
Yeah.
protecting yourself.
So he got
Ugh.
up and tried to leave the closet area, and I think my cell phone was on like our bedside table, and he took it and he threw it at me. And I moved and it hit the wall behind me and shattered. So at this point, my phone's shattered. I have no like his phone, and then there's a home phone that we had that was a cell phone that was his friend's. And the kids would use that if we would like go somewhere or whatever. If they had to get a hold of him, that was the phone they used. So those were the only two phones left in the house at this point that are functional. So he starts to leave our bedroom, and I know the kids are outside. And so I go run after him because I'm trying everything to keep all of his attention on me.
Right.
So we walk just outside of our bedroom door, and we have like this landing area, and our kids' bedrooms are all right there. And they were all in their bedrooms. And we got outside, and I don't know what I said to him. He pushed me up against the wall and started digging his thumbs into my eyes.
Oh my God.
And my kids were standing right there, and I could hear my daughter. She was like 4 at the time, and she was just begging him to stop. And eventually he did
Is he
stop.
even flinching
I
at
don't
that though? Or the
know.
kids? No.
Not at all. So he stops and he threw me across the landing into my son's door. So I remember like standing up. He went downstairs, and I remember I followed him downstairs because I don't know what he's doing. And again, like
Right.
I'm terrified because my kids are all here. I know, no, they've seen it. Like
Right.
they were there.
Right.
I've seen them. They saw me. Like,
He's used guns
yeah,
before.
like
Like you
I
have
have
no
no idea.
idea. Right.
So we go downstairs to the kitchen area, and he was over by the sink. And I remember I sat on the couch in the corner on the sectional because I was like, I don't even know what to do right now. Like, this is so much different than other interactions that we've had. I didn't even know what to do. And he walked over to me with a knife and held it at me. And he was like, just go ahead and kill yourself now and do everyone a favor. And I didn't even know what to do. I grabbed I don't even know how I got it from him, but I don't know if he thought I was grabbing it to like do
To
it,
do
or
it.
I
To
don't
do what he
know.
said.
But I
Yeah.
grabbed it and I threw it across the kitchen. And I got up and I started walking, and we had like the kitchen went into like this little entryway, right? And then the
Yeah.
stairs to go upstairs are right there. So I don't know if he thought I was leaving. I don't know where I was going. I just was walking. And he
Right.
stopped me by the front door and he pinned me up against the wall. And I remember just the look in his eyes was terrifying. Like there was nothing there. It was just black.
Right.
Like, and I remember he asked me a question and he wanted me to answer it. And I don't remember what the question was, but he was so mad that I couldn't answer it. And he went back and then just headbutt me right in between the nose. And my son was sitting on the landing and watched him. And I remember just I sat down on this little like bench that we had in our entry, and I was just like, I don't like I knew I wanted to go after him because I didn't want him to go and take it out on the kids, but I was just done. Like
Right.
I didn't
Right.
know what to do. And so I went upstairs. And I remember I walked into our bedroom again, like going after it. Why am I following this man? I'm
Right.
insane.
Right.
And
Well, you're worried about the kids.
yeah, and so I go in and I walk into our bedroom, and he falls to the floor and starts telling me that he's having a heart attack and that I'm trying to kill him.
Like
I was
I'd
like,
be like, thank
I was like, okay, well, if you are like, we need to call the police, like, we need to call
Right.
an ambulance. And he's like, they're not gonna do anything. We just need to go to bed. And I was like, okay. So I helped him get in bed. Pretty sure I had sex with him that night.
It was probably
and
required.
and I remember, like, my phone's broken at this point.
Right.
I'm in so much pain physically. I don't even know how to function. Like, I told everyone I got in a car crash because my eyes are black, my nose has a cut. Like, I look rough. So
Right.
I just told everyone at my work I got into a car accident because I'm joining these Zoom calls where I'm like on camera
Right.
and I had to come up with something.
Sure.
And so, I'm just in the house with him. Like, I know there's a picture of me laying on the couch with him, like 2 days later, we're watching a movie with the kids. Well, what was I gonna do? Like,
Right. Right.
yeah, I'm trying to keep him happy. I don't want that to happen again.
Well, it's even like with people like that, like abusers, it's crazy that they can do all those things and like an hour later be like, "Oh, what's for dinner?"
Yeah.
Like,
Like nothing is
right,
yes, and
right.
that's how it was all the
Yeah.
time. We didn't talk about it. There
Right.
was never any discussion or like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I did that to you," or
Right.
like none of that.
Or feeling bad that you're
No.
hurting
No.
or
None of that. So, I'm in the house and I start working again. Like a couple days, I think it was like 2 days later, I have to go back to work. I don't have time off. I've got to go back to work.
right.
So I'm going back to work, and at this point he's up in our room, and at lunch I was my lunch break, right? It's around breakfast time for everyone else. And I was supposed to bring him breakfast. And so I brought up, I think it was like toaster strudel. I still can't eat toaster strudel. And I remember I brought it to him and I said something about, I've been stretching so I can rub your legs or something like that. Like I indicated that I was uncomfortable in some way, shape, or form. And he got pissed. He's like, "You're just trying to make me feel bad. You're selfish," and threw the plate of toaster strudel across the room at me. And so I knew he was getting mad again. I didn't know what to do. I got our youngest daughter and I just held her because in my mind, like maybe it's not as bad if she's with me. Like, he's yelling at me. She's laying in bed with me. And it wasn't like I purposely got her. She was just like,
Right.
I wasn't going to remove her from the situation because at this point in my mind, I'm like, maybe this is how I survive. Like,
Right. Right.
I don't know. Like, maybe if I'm
Like he
holding
won't
her.
do that in front of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like yelling at me. He's wanting me to get up and I just am telling him no. I'm not going to come with you. And so he goes downstairs and gets mad and my older daughter hears. And he gets angry. Something starts slamming doors. And I think he punched me one point that day or something. But the details of that day were very fuzzy. And at this point, one punch is nothing to me.
Right.
Like,
Right.
please, let's go.
Right.
So he gets mad and goes upstairs and slams the door. So my daughter at this point has come to the realization, like, we need to leave. She's on the same page. She knows things are getting worse. So she says, we can leave if we go somewhere that he's going to trust and that he's going to feel like we're not betraying him, because that's what he told me. And I was like, okay.
The fact that he even got in her head like that.
Yeah. And I mean, at this point, so right now she's 17. She turns 18 in September. So this was 2020. So 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
13. I mean, she's a baby.
Still very impressionable.
Yeah,
and
very much so. So she agrees. She's like, we need to go, but we need to go somewhere that he's not going to feel like threatened by. So he has this friend that he's known since high school, and my kids know his dad and they call him grandpa. Like, we've had birthday parties at his house. He has been in our life the whole time. And I am like, okay, I haven't seen his mom at this point in over a year. I'm not talking to her anymore. I am not talking to my family. And I know that's going to feel like a direct threat.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, well, this is my solution. So I pack the kids up very quickly. I load my work computer up into the car because I'm working from home at this point, and I know I need to leave and be gone. I know this.
Right.
So I know that I need to get enough with me that time to be able to get to where I need to go. So I take enough and I text him as we're pulling out of the house, and I say, hey, we're going here. I'll talk to you, but we need some space. Like, we aren't okay. We need some space. Well, he loses his mind, starts swearing up a storm, calling me every name you can think of. Like, looking at those messages now, it's disgusting to read. Right. It's awful. And I go over there, and I remember we knocked on the door, and I haven't seen this man in a year. I haven't seen him since before the first arrest. And he lets us in. But the first thing he says to me is, I can't believe you did that to him last year. You ruined his life. And I just remember, like, I didn't even know what to say. I didn't know how to respond. I didn't know, like, and I have black eyes and, like, a cut across my nose. And, like, so how do you look at me and say that right now? Like, I was just so.
Right.
So I didn't know what to do. And he tells me.
That's the safe place for him.
Yeah.
Of course.
So he tells me, well, you can't stay here, but your kids can stay here. And I was like, no. And 2 seconds later, he walks in the front door because I told him where we were going.
Right.
And so I go to the bathroom because I'm just overwhelmed and I'm crying. And later, my daughter told me that she was sitting on the stairs because she wanted to listen. She's like, I was snooping, Mom. And I'm like, I know, kids are.
Yeah.
And she said she was sitting on the stairs and she could hear him telling him that I was crazy and that I should be put on medication and that I was just trying to ruin his life and take the kids from him. And that she said they just sat there and had a whole conversation about how I was making it all up and how I had done that to myself to hurt him. And he took the keys. So I had, like, our SUV that we had when we were driving around with kids, and that's what I had packed up, and all of our stuff was still in that car. He took the keys and went outside, and I had come back out, and he was gone for like 20, 25 minutes, comes back and starts screaming at me, whatever, and then leaves. But, like, I don't have the car. I don't know where it's at. I don't know what's going on. And so then he's telling me, like, your kids can stay, but you can't. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not doing that. So I guess take me back to him. Like, take me back home. And he did. He took me back to the house and dropped us off when we walked in the front door. And I remember when we walked in, like, he was sitting there waiting for us. And I remember he lined the kids up and he was telling them about all the chores that they were going to have to do to earn his forgiveness. And if they thought life was bad before, just wait. And I remember looking at him, I'm like, you're mad at me. Like, be mad at me. Don't take this out on them. Like, be mad at me.
Right.
And he grabbed me, and as he was pulling me, I could tell we were going somewhere. And so We walked past the cupboard and I saw the home phone that the kids had used, and I grabbed it. And he threw me out the front door into our concrete pillar and then threw a shoe at me and slammed the front door. And so I ran around the side of the house and hid behind the air conditioning unit. And so because I worked from home and I was working for a health company, you had to have like a VPN login where you have to
Right.
authenticate it on your phone.
Right.
So I had to have a phone to log into work. So he had let me download that app. Well, it had work contacts on there. And so there was one friend who I had worked with previously at Revere Health who switched to Health Equity with me. So she knew me,
Right.
but we hadn't seen each other or talked in a long time. But I was like, okay, well, I'm calling her. Like,
Right.
we're calling her. It was so late. It was night. It's always nighttime, it feels like.
Right. Right.
And so I call her and I'm like, I need you to come and pick me up. And she did. And sorry. I know she knew what she was walking into.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an easy situation for someone to walk into, especially
Right.
knowing how unstable he is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I felt so guilty asking anyone because I knew anyone I asked was then in line of fire with
Right.
me. But she came and she picked me up and I left without my babies. And it wrecked every part of me.
Oh God, I imagine.
Sorry.
You had to be able to get out of there though to be safe to then get them.
But I just felt like there was so much time between me leaving and going back that, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
didn't trust anything he was doing. And
Right.
so it was just crappy. So she lived a town over from where we were at the time. We went over to her house. Sorry, I probably look a disaster right now.
No, not at all.
And so, I don't know. Oh, this is how. So that phone was his friend's. And you can log in and like
The one that's in the house?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can log in. They both had worked for T-Mobile. His friend is still working for T-Mobile. His friend got the job because he got him the job at T-Mobile.
Okay.
So they know like how to log into the back-end system, see who I'm texting and all of those things. I don't know, like he figured out where I was at. And I don't know if it's because the phone location was on.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something. He found where I was at, knocked on the door.
He came there.
Yeah, knocked on the door, and my friend was like, just answered the Ring doorbell thing. And she's like, no, she's not here. Like, played dumb. Totally played dumb. And she's like, we need to call the police. I'm like, no, absolutely. Like, please call the police.
Right.
So she calls, and again, we're in a different city, like the whole thing that we're doing all over again. So they call Spanish Fork police, and they say, like, hey, we have this woman here. She's got physical injuries. Like, here we are. This is where her kids are still in the home.
Right.
So they go, and we're living in a cul-de-sac at the time. And the police have, like, they're in the cul-de-sac. Well, he had come and tried to get me. He tried to come and find me or whatever. So he's going back home. He pulls into the cul-de-sac and sees the police officers and tries to flip and run. Well, they had police officers across the street, and everyone comes, and like they had like 4 or 5 police officers in this little tiny cul-de-sac that were just like zooming in around him. Well, he's like, no, I was just going to Walmart to buy speaker wire. Like, she's crazy. She should be on medication. It's upstairs in our bedroom. Like, acting like nothing has even happened.
He's the master manipulator.
Like,
of course.
it is chilling to listen to that because you would, like, he just talks like it's
you would
no
think
one
he's
deal.
the victim and you're
He
just
went,
nuts.
Yeah. She did this last year. We just are having problems. She's been cheating on me for years and I just couldn't tolerate it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it was insane.
Right.
So they have him in custody at this point. And they let me know that they have him in custody. And they're like, you can come and get your kids. I'm like, done. I'm on my way.
Right.
So I go and I show up and knowing he's in the back of a car sitting right there. And I go in and I have probably, I don't know, an hour and a half to get whatever I can grab. And like there's police officers there interviewing me, interviewing the kids, interviewing because, sorry, can you bleep that one out?
Let's take all out of there.
Because he was in the house during the whole interaction. He's there for here. Like, so that whole day that everything, like thumbs in the eyeballs, headbutting me, he's in the house playing his computer game. I don't think I talked about this. I think I went up after I got headbutt. I went in and I asked him for help. And I was like, help me, take me somewhere. Like, just get me out of this house. And he looked at me and he's like, what? What happened?
So he's just as much of a piece of shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I haven't had as much practice not saying his name. Sorry. So, yeah, just frustrating. Like, again, how do you do that as a human?
Yeah.
How do you see another human going through that and not just say something?
But it makes sense that they're friends.
Oh, absolutely.
And for so long.
Absolutely. So, at this point, like, we're getting out, police are involved, whatever. They hold him in custody. They arrest him. He goes to jail. This is a Friday or Saturday. He's only in jail until Monday because
Now, are the kids like saying, "Yeah, he hurt mommy,"
no.
because
No,
they're afraid?
I was terrified of police officers. The
Yeah,
kids were terrified of police officers. And again, I think that's another thing that's so interesting because I think so many victims are very scared of law enforcement. And I don't know how I got there. Like,
right.
I never had, you know what I mean? There was
Well, I think
never,
it's because you have different experiences, and especially when you have a master manipulator, you don't know how are they going to react. Who are they going to believe?
well,
You
and I
just
look
don't
back
know.
now and I'm like, okay, well, no wonder he was scared of police officers. He was doing multiple things that were definitely illegal and he didn't want me to realize they were illegal.
Right.
But in that moment, you're not ever going to
You're not
realize
thinking
that.
that,
But
right?
we were all terrified. So, like, watching the body cam footage of like when they knocked on the door, because they knocked on the door to ask, like, to interview my children, and his friend answered the door with my oldest daughter. And later, my daughter told me. So, his relationship with his parents was super messed up too. They had a really messy divorce, and so this is the friend.
Okay.
His parents live together still, but the dad lives downstairs, the mom lives upstairs. And they constantly were like pinning the kids against the other parent. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then this friend is pulling my kids into the kitchen before the police officer get there and say, you know, my mom twisted me against my dad my whole life. And if you don't want to go with the police, you don't have to. You can stay here with me. You don't even have to go with your mom. This is your home. And like coaching them
Like,
before the
who the
police
hell are
knocked on the
you?
door. Oh, I was
Yeah.
livid.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not their family member. You're not like, and
Right.
so my daughter, like you can see she's physically scared. When they knock on the door, she's like playing with her hands and like just
Nervous,
was
twitching, and
terrified.
yeah. Yeah.
And so at this point, this night, no one said anything but me. And I'm mad at this point. Like I'm furious. We're not like, I was sad. And like even like listening to my body cam interview, all I do is sit and apologize. Like I just sit and say, I'm sorry. I'm
You
sorry.
still do it.
I do all the
Yeah.
time, all the
Yeah.
time. And there was one police officer. Whew, I'll cry talking about him. He was there during the first arrest because my mom lived in Spanish Fork, and when he was arrested the second time, he was arrested in Spanish Fork.
Okay.
And so when I was in the home, like getting all of the things out, and like I was so just numb and in like get things like I wasn't emotional, right?
Right.
I was just like very focused on what I was doing. And he walked in and he looked at me and he goes, you probably don't remember me, but I remember you. So sorry. Um, and I said, you were probably at my mom's house last year. And he's like, I was, and I need to help you. And I think it was like the most beautiful call out I could have ever had because I couldn't justify it. I couldn't say, you just don't know him or you don't understand the situation.
But I'm sure you weren't saying any of that at this point either, were you? Or were
I
you a
still was
little?
apologizing and saying how much I loved him and how I didn't want his life ruined. Like, it's crazy for me to listen to that interview because I was mad and I knew I was done, but I still was very much like, I don't want to ruin his life. I've never
Well,
wanted
you
to
had
ruin
been
his life.
brainwashed for more than half your life at
Yeah,
this point. Like,
absolutely. And so it was just like, it was, I couldn't deny the situation anymore, if that makes sense. And
yeah,
then he got me in contact with the victim's advocate for Spanish Fork, and she is one of the most amazing humans I've ever
whole
met.
different experience.
Whole different
Yeah,
experience. She was there with me for everything. She came and helped me move into my new apartment and like came and sat with me and searched on my computer because I was scared to go online because everything I had done had been monitored. And so
right,
I know that sounds so dumb, but I just couldn't physically do it.
right.
And so like
Well, you still had all that fear.
yeah. And so it was nice to have someone that I felt understood. Because, I mean, I think so often when you have someone that's been through trauma and then they're going to people that haven't really been through that amount of trauma, they can't understand why you're asking for the things that you're
No, they
asking
can't
for.
relate.
No. And it's like, for example, I wasn't allowed to sleep. No one knew that. But then when I left, he knew where we were living because at that point we were still married and I had to tell him where the kids were. And so he was just driving our apartment complex. And so I just wanted someone to come and sit at our apartment so that I could sleep. I
Like,
needed
just be
someone
here.
to watch so that I could sleep.
Right.
And no one understood why. They're like, okay, but just go to sleep. So it's stuff like that where I'm like, I just don't think people
They
understand
don't.
like where it comes from or why, and that's
Like,
fine.
they even talk about that, like, if even when if someone passes away and, the wife or the kids, everybody goes back to they're finding a new normal.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand how much it means to just come and sit with me.
Yeah.
Come and bring dinner. Like, don't even ask. Just come and do
I'm
it.
never going to ask for help ever. Even now,
Yeah.
I hate asking for
Right.
help. Like, I don't like relying on people because I
Right.
don't trust it. Like,
Right.
it's scary.
Well, because you've been let
Yeah.
down.
Too many times.
Yeah.
So at this point, I was so lucky to have my victims advocate get me in contact with a nonprofit organization based in Utah. They're called The Refuge. And
Okay.
they were able to get me and my kids into an apartment within 6 days of his arrest.
Wow.
So now
Restraining order.
all of that was in
Okay.
place. All of that
Okay.
was happening. We were still like, because it was COVID, he was pushing in-person jury trial. So everything was delayed. Everything was happening, but it was very slow. And I think he was doing that because he thought I was going to back down. I think he
Right.
thought if he pushed it long
And
enough,
gave it enough time.
and
Yeah.
I was done. Like I knew I was done, and I think having my own apartment was huge because it
Mhm.
allowed me to find my confidence in becoming a parent and my own human and my own
Right.
person.
Right.
And so
No more
yeah.
tiptoeing and
So the refuge helped me. They got me into an apartment because I had a job. I just needed to get like I needed my own bank
funds.
account and I
Yeah.
needed time for like them to start depositing my checks in.
Right.
So this is all happening. We're in an apartment and he's got his defense attorney and he's still arguing everything. He's saying that none of it happened, that I made it all up, that he wants 50-50 custody of the kids. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like,
Right.
we aren't doing this. And so we tried to do like a Zoom court thing or whatever, but he was like, no, I want in-person jury trial. So I was like, okay. Well, that made it so that the kids had to also testify because they witnessed it. And I think that was another tactic that he had in hoping that I wasn't
That
going to.
you wouldn't want to put them through that. Yeah.
And I didn't.
Of course not. But
at that point, I told them, I'm like, it sucks. None of us want to be here, but he's not holding himself accountable. And if we don't, then no one's going to.
right. Right.
And so so it took us a year and 2 months to get to jury trial from the date of his arrest. So he was arrested January 2nd, 2021. Jury trial was February 1st and 2nd, 2022.
Wow.
And I mean, throughout that
It's
whole
just crazy
thing,
how calculated he was, even and knew how to manipulate the system when COVID was going on.
absolutely. Well, he paid his mom, not
Oh.
him. His mom paid very good money for his defense attorney. I know that she paid him to be there the 2 days of jury trial, and he like came down and stayed.
So it did go to a
Oh
full
yeah, we
jury.
went the whole way. We went the whole way.
Wow.
So
Because
me
he
and
just he's so arrogant. He thought he was just going to get out of it.
well, I mean, think about it.
Or that you would cave.
Most domestic violence situations are behind closed doors. It's
Yeah.
he said, she said, and you have to. And it sucked. It royally sucked to convince I don't even remember how many jury people we had that the worst day of my life happened.
Right.
And in that time
And that you're not
frame,
just this crazy lunatic and needs to be on meds.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, it was awful. So we go to jury trial, and in that we have guardian ad litem, and we're trying to go through divorce things. And at this point, I'm qualifying for like free services through the state, and that's great. I'm so grateful that they're there. But because of how my case played out, it was almost more detrimental to me. Because, so for our divorce, we couldn't go to divorce till after the jury trial was concluded. And my divorce attorney was a free one through the state. Well,
Okay.
that I think it's called Utah Legal Services. They're rotating through attorneys all the time because
Right.
they're just coming in and going, you know what I mean?
Sure.
That happens. So I think I went through like 4 or 5 attorneys before we even hit divorce. And so as I was going through all these different hearings, no one really knew my case. No one was really fully educated on it. And so by the time we would get to things, it was like me going, okay, but wait.
Yeah. Don't forget this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was just really complicated. And I learned really early on. Sorry. I learned really early on. I'm just going to hit that multiple times. That if I wasn't going to find a way to figure it out, no one was going to. Like, even if I
Right.
had an attorney, I was the one that had to do the legwork to figure out
Right.
how to get what I wanted.
Right.
And so we went to jury trial. Me and the kids went. My 2 older testified. And he was found guilty on all 5 counts, and he was sentenced.
Did you get to see the look on his face?
I didn't look at him. There was one part of jury trial that I looked kind of at him, and I don't know how I feel about it. I've tried really hard to conduct myself in a way that my children will be proud of when they look back at all of this.
Yeah.
I know that people go through a lot of different emotions, and they'll have those times where like, okay, well, I just wasn't in the vet's headspace.
Right.
I had one of those, and I made a TikTok that was very targeted towards the friend, and I still feel that way. But I told him to,
Yeah.
do some things, and they played it in jury trial. And they were like, and you took that down because his attorney told you to take it down. And I was like, no, I took it down because I realized that wasn't how I wanted to present myself to the world or my children. And I just
Good
sat there
answer.
and I just stared at him. And that was the only time I looked at him.
I would have just wanted to see his face when they said guilty.
The second they did, I told my victim's advocate, I want to stay up and get it. I want to hear the sentence and I want to leave. I had been holding my emotions for 2 days because I didn't want him to see me cry. I didn't
Right.
want him to see me. Like, the first day I got up to go to the bathroom and he followed me to the bathroom. Like, because there's the men's and the women's
Yeah.
bathroom, right? And he followed. And my victim's advocate was nice enough that she got up and walked and came and like she saw. But like he would do stuff
What?
all the time like that. And I know.
To intimidate.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
So we go through jury trial. He's convicted, and they
With a
sentence.
DV. Domestic
So
violence.
it's assault, criminal mischief, and then assault or domestic violence in the presence of a child times 3, and then something for breaking my phone. I don't remember exactly what like the verbiage was, though there was 5 counts, but they were all misdemeanors. None of them were felonies, and so it was just they all told me like he's probably going to leave getting nothing. Like this is his first charge, so he's probably going to get nothing. Don't be surprised.
Right.
And so we went into sentencing and they gave him 28 days in custody with 30 days house arrest. Well, at this point, he still doesn't have a job. He's home all the time.
Right.
So I'm like, how is house arrest even a punishment for him?
Right. Probation after, I hope.
1 year of unsupervised probation. They just let him do whatever. He had to go to a class, like a domestic violence class or whatever, but it was via Zoom. And the kids had gone over a couple times. We'll get to that part too. And they would say he would join the class and then turn the camera off and go work in the garage. So I'm like, why do you even do that?
And they're probably
then?
fully telling the truth.
Yeah, like why are we? And so I remember calling the facility and I was like, if you guys are requiring this of people, why don't you just have them keep the camera on to make sure they're at least listening?
Right.
Like whether they get something out of the class or not is on them,
Yeah.
but it was, and they were like, we feel really confident in our curriculum. And I was like, I'm sure you do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Right.
And so it was just insane. Like it was the weirdest life to just kind of sit with. So I remember after his conviction, they wanted to give him 20 hours of community service. And I was like, well, I work a 40-hour work week to take care of our children that he has not one time helped with. So I feel like we could probably do a little better than that.
Right.
So they did 40 hours of community service. I was like, whoop-dee or something. I'm like, okay, awesome.
Yeah. Did you feel like after that verdict came back, were you like in the twilight zone? Like didn't really know what to think, feel?
I think I had come to a really good resolution that it wasn't going to feel fair. I knew nothing would feel fair, and so I had kind of just decided I was okay that it wasn't going to.
Right.
I just knew it was going to feel crappy, and I had kind of just settled within myself that it was going to feel crappy.
Yeah. That's smart.
So he goes through all of this and goes in, turns himself in, does his house arrest. We go to divorce trial.
All right, so I think we're going to take a pause here because you've got an incredible story and it's just going to be a little bit longer. So let's do part 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.